Hello, my beautiful friends. What an amazing day it is today. Yes, indeed. We've got an extra special Friday ahead because we've got some Democrat judges who broke the law and now have been arrested. Of course, they're entitled to the presumption of innocence, but we know what's going on here. We're very excited that you're joining us. I hope your Friday was outstanding and amazing and you accomplished everything you set your mind to this week because it is a beautiful Friday. We made it through another busy week, and today we're talking about some bad judges. You see, this dude here on the left on your screen is the formerly known judge, Judge Cano, and he got arrested with his wife, and the charges are now available. The public now can read the criminal complaint, and we'll do that because it has come out. But what's so interesting about this story is not necessarily this judge's charges, it is how this judge got charged. The charges are obstruction, but they essentially emanate from another individual who is this person right here, which is where this all began. Great to see you, locals. So there are two cases. This guy got charged originally, and then to try to save his own skin, he started pointing his finger at the judge, tipped off the prosecutors. Then the judge got busted. So we're going to go through that. We got a whole bunch of documents on those two cases. We'll kind of go down memory lane. We'll take a look at this guy's case, Ortega-Lopez, and how he got nailed by ICE, and then how he was palling around with the judge and then fingered the judge. And then the judge got busted. So it's pretty wild what's going on here. And the judge is deleting evidence and all sorts of things, allegedly. And so he got charged with obstruction. And we've got the criminal complaint here against the judge, Judge Joel Cano, former judge. He resigned because he was trying to get the hell out of the splash zone. He saw a big fat criminal Shamu coming in, and he tried to get out of there, but didn't work. So we got that one. We're going to go through that, piece it all together. There's reaction on this, and Pam Bondi came out explaining a lot of this. I do believe I have that clip somewhere. So we got Pam Bondi, who is going to explain a lot more on that, provided I have the clip. Pretty sure I do somewhere. And then we'll come back on that. Kristi, Noem obviously weighing in as well. But we also had another judge, this judge, Judge Dugan, who also got arrested. We'll get familiar with who this woman is. And this was her fleeing the courthouse. Run, Judge, run. No, don't talk to the cameras. Oh, bye. So we'll come back because she got arrested and charged with crimes. And the criminal complaint against her is also now available, coming out of the Eastern District of Wisconsin. Oh, Judge, you can't obstruct justice. Hello, you can't violate the law. Don't obstruct or conceal anything. Hello. So we'll go through it. These judges are getting busted. And of course, the Democrats are flipped. They're losing their minds. The fascism. We just got done getting lectured by them for like 4 years about no one's above the law, all that kind of crap. So we'll give the judges a fair shake. I mean, everybody's entitled to the presumption of innocence. Charging judges, of course, is a big deal, but they're breaking the law. And no one is above the law, not even in the Eastern District of Wisconsin. So there were protesters out there outside saying, "Free Judge Dugan, we love illegal aliens." And we'll come back through all of that. And I definitely had that Pam Bondi clip somewhere, so I have to find that out, or something else going on. Anyways, so we'll pull that up. But my friends, it is a beautiful Friday. So we got two bad judges, both busted, both arrested. Pretty nice Friday here. Now, they might not be so happy about it. If you're in the judiciary and you're a gangbang, a facilitator, and you're helping them break the law, it's probably not a good day for them. They're probably having a pretty rough day, but shouldn't break the law. As we know, no one's above the law. Now, this morning, we had an amazing members only stream. If we missed you, we'd love to see you on the next one. This is what we talked about this morning. Trump went to the Vatican. He's over there for the funeral. We talked about this Act Blue situation, which was happening over, well, they're under investigation now. Democrats are flipped about that. We talked about all that this morning. And then we talked about the SNAP benefits for the illegals that are being cut off. So no more free money on behalf of America, the American taxpayer. So we talked about all that this morning. It was a ton of fun. And I also want to shout out my boy Corey over at Prescott Barbershop for the fresh dew today. Had a great cut today. And if you're in Prescott, I'd highly recommend them. You see, they're located at 843 Miller Valley Road. Very cool dude. Shout out to Corey, a veteran here, and he gave us a good cut today. And there's your boy over on their Instagram. Oh, that's me. All right, so go check him out. Prescott Barbershop, just shouting him out. What's up, Corey? Thanks for the cut today, my man. All right, so we've got business to attend to today. Let's get to it. It looks good. Yeah, it looks good. The stream cut out again? What the heck is going on? We all good? All right, looks like we're good. Refresh your tubes if you need to. Refresh the tubes. All right, I don't know what is going on with that. That was happening this morning too. All right, so hopefully we're good. All right, so let's get to it on the day because here we go. A judge criminally charged in his role in aiding and abetting and obstructing evidence that was being sought by the U.S. federal government. You see this photograph right here on the left side of your screen is the picture of former magistrate judge Joel Cano and his wife, Nancy, busted. As you can see, the charges have been released, and we'll go through them in great detail, including what's happening in this case of the United States versus Cano. The feds came in, busted the judge, and he got charged. But this is a new case, April 25th, 2025. The question is, how did this judge even get involved in a gang-related offense, and why is he obstructing evidence related to a federal investigation? You see, here's the criminal complaint against the judge, Judge Joel Cano. There are more details on this, but you really need the backstory in order to get there. And here is the charge against the judge. It says tampering with evidence. Judge, you can't do that, man. And you see, it was on about the dates of March 9th or through March 23rd in the county of Donna Ana in New Mexico. So you're asking yourselves, well, what was going on March 9th, March 9th, or a couple weeks in that span from the 9th to the 23rd? Well, there's a lot going on. So we're going to come back to this, but we got to connect the dots. We're following the bouncing ball until we get here. So the backstory actually starts with this dude. And this guy's name is called, according to the case document, because he was charged, Ortega-Lopez. And here is what happened with him. So this is the criminal complaint that you can see was filed back on March 3rd, which is the range in the dates that those judge was tampering with evidence, obstructing evidence. So what happened was the United States District Court originally was just coming after this dude. Like, the judge is not involved at all, so far as we can know or tell. So he gets charged, and what they find for us is they say, well, on or about the dates, I swear, they were charging this guy with being an unlawful, illegal alien, unlawfully in the United States, charged with possession of a firearm, right? Because he was posting photos all over the interwebs that looked like this with him with firearms. Uh-oh. Can't be an illegal alien in the country and be running around with guns. So what happened was, what we see is he got charged with a crime. So the Homeland Security Division of Investigations, this guy called, or Brianna, what's up, Brianna Vigil, special agent with the new Homeland, getting things done, submitted this and said, all right, listen, on January 2025, Homeland Security Investigations Las Cruces initiated an investigation into Christian Ortega, the dude you just saw, following the receipt of an anonymous tip submitted on the HSI tip line. Somebody called this one in. The tip alleged that Christian Ortega, an illegal alien from Venezuela and a suspected member of a criminal gang, was residing with other illegal aliens in the United States unlawfully at the address located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And he was in possession of firearms. Now, based on the findings of this investigation, it was determined that Christian Ortega did unlawfully enter the United States December 15th, 2023, when they were raiding the country thanks to Joe. So, due to overcrowding, right, they looked his name up and identified him. Due to overcrowding, Ortega was released pending removal proceedings on or about December 18th. Oh, you came in, wow, we're too overfull because those dang Republicans haven't helped us pass legislation to control the border, right? Remember that whole fake line? On April 24th, Christian Ortega filed a request for immigration relief, got a lawyer, probably, from one of those organizations, which will be considered by an immigration judge as part of his removal proceedings. It's separate, right? So criminal court's different than immigration courts. Now, as of present, Ortega remains subject pending to removal proceedings. According to his biographic data, he lives in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Now, he was observed on his social media accounts. This is Homeland Security reporting, in possession of firearms. This is, in his case, criminal charges against him before the judge is even involved. Specifically on December 30th, 2024, Ortega uploaded a collection of photographs and videos on his personal Facebook account featuring him and other Venezuelan illegal aliens, like a party at what appears to be a shooting range in Las Cruces, probably practicing their gangbanging out there, in New Mexico, in possession of firearms and a large amount of handgun ammunition and rifle ammunition. Now, the images and videos listed below, posted by Christian Ortega, were retrieved from his personal Facebook account. In one image, Ortega posted on Facebook, he's observed holding a dark-colored AR-15 style rifle in one hand and a black semi-automatic handgun in the other hand. A second image of Ortega, published on his Facebook, contained a photo showing a hand holding miscellaneous caliber ammunition and what appears to be larger amounts of the same type of ammunition in open containers in the background. In an additional photo posted on his Facebook, Ortega is observed holding a black semi-automatic handgun, which appears to be identified as a 6-hour P365 handgun, while Efren Montilla Castillo, also identified as an illegal alien, it's weird. I mean, don't they know it's illegal to have guns if you're not a U.S. citizen? Don't they know? Unbelievable. Is holding another semi-automatic handgun with an optic in his hand. Now, the individual faces are not visible in the photograph, but they've identified by both of their visible hand tattoos, which are like it's like what barbers are doing, and barber tats or whatever, beauty salon tats on their hands. The watches have worn in other photos, right? So you can identify them. Now, on the same date at the shooting range, a video posted by Ortega on his personal Facebook account shows him shooting an AR-15 style rifle with a suppressor. Democrats would call that an assault rifle if it was a Republican, but it's not. It's an illegal, alleged Venezuelan gangbanger. The AR-15 style rifle was confirmed to be a firearm with some type of attached suppressor based on the video. Now, the video depicts Ortega discharging the AR-15 style rifle in the beginning, followed by the replacement of the magazine with a new one, like training or something maybe, after which he proceeds to continue firing the weapon with a silenced report clearly audible from the shot. A projectile can be observed and heard striking the metal silhouette targets down the range. Oh, okay, so he actually fired the gun. Got it. Ortega has been positively identified in the video based on his distinctive tattoos, including tattoos on his left hand, left arm, which are visible in the video. Now, upon further investigation of Ortega's social media accounts, agents identified videos and photos on his personal social media accounts and the other illegal aliens with him at the aforementioned address that displayed clear indicators of Tren de Aragua, a transnational criminal organization and designated foreign terrorist organization from Venezuela, saying observations on Ortega and the illegal aliens he resided with included tattoos, clothing, apparel, displaying hand gestures commonly associated with TDA. These visual indicators, widely recognized as symbols of TDA consistent with existing intelligence, provide strong evidence of his potential connection to TDA. So then, on February 28th, 2025, a post-Miranda interview, so after this dude has been picked up, Ortega advised that in or around December 2023, he illegally entered the United States. Oh, you're kidding. From Mexico, climbing over a barbed wire fence in Texas. It's like, no problem. He's like, no, I just stepped over it. What do you mean? It's like on the ground. Joe Biden took it down. He eventually began living at a residence in Las Cruces, New Mexico. While living at the residence, he was introduced to an acquaintance who possessed a large number of firearms. Who is this person? Ortega advised that the acquaintance allowed him to hold and to sometimes shoot those firearms. 4 firearms that had been seized from the acquaintance's residence on February 28th following the execution of a search warrant were displayed in front of Ortega. Oh, you had guns from someone? Yeah. Was it this guy? Yeah. Was it these guns? Yeah. Did you touch those? Yeah. You recognize these? Yeah. How about this one? Yep. That one, that one, that one. Yep. All four. Got him. Oh, great. Thanks for admitting all that to us. He was also shown various photographs of him holding and shooting firearms. Is this you? Yes. Is this you? Yes. How about this one? Yes, that's me. Oh, great. He confirmed that 3 of the firearms in front of him were the same ones depicted in the photographs. He's like just admitting everything on camera. Specifically, Giselle's SD 5.56 rifle, a Sig Sauer, and a Volquartsen VT 22 caliber rifle. Ortega admitted, you shot that one too? Yeah. Oh, that one? How about this one? Did you like it? Yeah. Did you know it was illegal to shoot those guns? Yes, I did. He admitted that he knew it was illegal for him to possess firearms. You know, you can't touch those, right? Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, it's pretty cut and dry case here. All right, so special agents with ATF were contacted and advised that the Sig Sauer firearms are not manufactured in the state of New Mexico. Uh-oh. And therefore would have traveled in and affected interstate commerce. Feds. Similarly, the ATF special agents further advised that components making up ammunition, gunpowder, and more are not commercially manufactured in the state of New Mexico. So those were coming across in interstate commerce too. So you got jurisdiction over this. So based on the information above, Homeland says, it's our case now. Your affiant, Homeland Brianna, shout out, believes that on or about December 30th, Ortega, an illegal alien, illegally or unlawfully in the United States, unlawfully possessed a firearm and ammunition that had moved or affected interstate commerce in violation of the law. This violation is believed to have occurred in New Mexico, and because this affidavit is submitted for the purpose of establishing probable cause as set forth herein, I have not included everything that's needed, but this is what we need for charges. Signed by Brianna and by Damian L. Martinez, U.S. Magistrate Judge, all signing off on this. Now, here's some of the photos that they submitted and shared, right? That's the same one that we saw from the Gateway Pundit. So he's out there. Man, he's double fisting on that one, right? Yeah, got one there, got one over there. Posted that on social media. I'm just curious. And then we had another one over here. Oh, Christian Ortega right there. Busted. Man, look at all that back there, man. They were going out for fun. And, you know, like these cases, not to go down a very dark and morbid road, but, you know, we've heard of those shootings like in Mumbai and these other places around the world where you just see kind of these cells pop up and just go to malls or sports stadiums or whatever and just unload on everybody. And you might look at this case in hindsight, like when that happens, God forbid, and just go, oh, yeah, it's like obvious. Like, oh, clearly, like we know what's going on like right now, right? And it just happens. And suddenly everybody goes, how'd that happen? How'd no one know? How'd no one know what they were doing or planning or plotting? And everybody plays dumb. You're like, well, it's been happening right here. They're posting social media on, it's on social media. And or maybe they were just a couple of bros out there shooting guns. Either way, it was illegal. They're not allowed to do that. They're in the country illegally, and they're getting pretty braggadocious about it, as you can see. Here's another photograph, and you can see their guns are there, or their watches are there, rather. And then, of course, what we have are, I think it was their makeup artist tattoos on their hands or whatever they were sharing there with their hands, since they're makeup artists from San Francisco or whatever they keep telling us. Just here to make America more fabulous again. All right, got it. So that happened. Here's another exhibit. They played this video for Ortega, and he's like, yep, that's me. Pretty good shot, huh? They're like, yeah, you're doing great. You're doing it. That's you, right? Okay. Good shooting over there. Which one was your favorite? I'd love to listen to this conversation. Which one of these was your favorite? He's like, oh, I like this one, the big one. It's my favorite. I like that one the most. Okay, got it. So charge, right? Now that's just where this case started. So if we go down the docket list, now let's just go back to the docket. Let me show you. So the criminal case was filed. They arrested this dude. They set a hearing. The complaint gets released. We get to read it. This dude gets appointed a federal public defender, right? So he gets appointed counsel who's going to come in here. So the attorney comes in, defense attorney, and shout out to our public defenders. He's like, man, my number one thing to do is just get this client out. I'm not thinking about the judge. Nobody else is really involved in this, okay? So then this guy comes in, initial presentment. They have a hearing. due process protections. Boom, the public defender gets appointed. Attorney comes in. They add attorney. U.S. attorney, new U.S. attorney comes in. Probation department comes in. They've got a quick hearing. And then watch this. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about bond, right? How do we get this dude out of custody? Defense came in representing this guy. They say, requested a hearing continuance. He's currently in custody. Let's get him out. Okay, so defense attorney's going, all right, we got to get this dude out of here. So they submit this. Now it's a notice of filing of documents. Now the judge, we still have like no judge has come into this at all. So this is great. So the judge then gets this filing. You see this one on 3/13. So he gets arrested. He's still in custody. He got charged. We just read the complaint, which was filed on the 3rd. We fast forward. Public defender comes in on the 13th, 10 days later, and submits this. Says, okay, judge, listen. This dude's great, man. Ortega-Lopez is he's like awesome. So Chaz Rottenberg, the public defender, comes in. He's doing his job. He's like, here, judge, read all this stuff. I got all this stuff. Letters of support for Ortega, and they use the first name. We'll use the last name, from Las Cruces residents who are neighbors to Ortega. So he gets all these letters, like we call them mitigation letters or community letters, family letters, and more. Check this. Photos and screenshots in order of Ortega in glasses, whatever that matters, of him installing windows, okay, at the home of Nancy and Joel Cano. That's the judge, okay? So they're like, if you're a prosecutor and you just get this, you're going, what? Okay, fine, a mitigation, no problem, whatever. You get this, okay, he's in glasses, what do I care? He's installing windows at the home of Nancy and Joel Cano. Who the hell's that? Right? These are federal prosecutors, U.S. attorney. Who's that? The completed installed window at the judge's house, photos of Ortega with the Cano family in their home going out to eat, and screenshots of Ortega in the Cano residence on Christmas Eve opening Christmas gifts. Okay. So like the whole paragraph is like, I know a judge, right? It's like standard mitigation, but he's like fingering the judge. It's like, no, I know a judge. Like a judge knows me. A judge like loves me. I go over for Christmas Eve. We install windows for the dude. He's like, look. And the judge is like, what the hell, bro? I don't know what are you talking about? So then they also submit to the judge, right? Notice of documents for the court's consideration. Please look at this because he's a really good dude. Says Christian's application to change venue for his immigration hearing from Denver to Colorado also submitted. Order of an immigration judge granting Ortega a change of venue and notice for a biometric services appointment for asylum and withholding of removal. We spent a lot of time on withholding of removal. I'm sure he's in danger from somebody somewhere. Got it. So signed by the public defender. Now then you go through this, right? And this is the mitigation packet that they sent into the court. They sent this in to the judge. Okay, so judge, listen. And of course, the prosecutors are going to get copied on this. So they send all this in. And everybody wrote this dude notes. So somebody called Beverly sent this in. I love Ortega. Hi, this is a quick note to vouch for Ortega, who I met through Nancy Cano, right? That's the judge's wife. Says HL's self-spoken, soft-spoken, and courteous young man who continue his legal process towards citizenship. You couldn't ask for a better candidate. He's a good kid with good intentions, right? I wonder if Beverly looks like a nice person. Look at this nice note with a little beautiful starfish. Beverly, you're such a sweetheart. What is that? Your name and a little personal note. Thank you for doing that. A little Finding Nemo down here. How adorable. She's like, he's a nice kid. Whatever. Yeah, came over, cleaned the windows up. So here's another one. Came in somebody named Karen, I think, sent in another letter to whom it may concern. I have known the Cano fam, the judges. I don't know what. So this is kind of strange now. So watch this. Now we can piece this together. But as you go through this, so now let me just fast forward a little bit and then we'll rewind. But the letters came in also from the family. So there's a lot of letters that you see came in. But look at this. Clarissa Nanawa Cano. So somebody's married to somebody in the Cano family who submitted a letter. We've also got another Nanawa, someone who can do the family tree on that. Another Nanawa's there, and then another Jeremy Cano. Okay, so that's like more people of the family. So this dude's not just connected to the judge. This dude is connected to the family, right? Like the family of the judge is also sending letters in on behalf. So let's just back up a little bit and just parse that together, because it's coming through the Cano family, in other words, right? So this person is saying, if you're writing about Christian Lopez Ortega, why are you saying, I've known the Cano for years? They're a lifelong, respectful family of the community. I've come to know Ortega and several sessions at the Cano family events. I found him to be hardworking, friendly, polite young man. Ortega has been to our home, various jobs, warm ethics, all the things, and country of origin. Note, I am a 78-year-old wife and mom with 2 grown sons. I've had 7 jobs and giving me an opportunity to work with a large number of individuals, primarily men. Okay, so shout out to Karen. Now, we also had this one from George, retired sanitary engineer. Shout out to our sanitary engineers, man. We need them for sure. Yeah, especially in certain counties. My wife and I have been spending our winters in Las Cruces. The last 5, we've rented homes from Nancy Cano and have come to know the Cano family. So again, it's like, it's weird. Like, these are letters for Ortega, but they're all kind of coming through the Cano family. Isn't that weird? Last fall, we met Ortega when we helped. So the Cano family's like, hey, did you remember that guy who came over that one time? They're like, what? Like that one dude. All right. So they write a letter at the Cano family Thanksgiving and this winter when he helped remove the leaves from our yard. Remember that guy who came and did your yard? Like, no. Like, well, he needs your write a letter. Okay. He was always respectful, kind, hardworking, and old school polite. That's good. He's difficult to imagine how physically hard it was for him to reach the United States. Not that hard. He just walked over some barbed wire in Texas. This speaks well for him and his character and the family who raised him. That's a good argument. That's a good argument there, George. I like it, actually. Yeah. You know, it's almost like Hunger Games. It's like, man, you got to work really hard to get in here. If you get in here, you can stay. If you make it. But it wasn't that hard for him to get here physically. He just walked across the border because Joe Biden didn't enforce anything. So he's exactly the kind of person we should welcome into the United States. All right, that's from George, sanitary engineer, Department of Natural Resources. We also then saw this one from Rose Marie. Let's see if this is coming through the Canos. Christian has good manners, greets people well. He came several times to work at my ranch. Good work ethic, gave me a hug, told me muchas gracias, abuelita. Wow, that's cool. He said that he would be happy to return to help me. So she appreciates him. He's a good, honest young man. Now, this is good work, right? This is good. You want to see this, like the legal work to generate all this is good. You're going out, just drag these out. And even if you're charged with a crime, right? It's good to go get these. Hey, this guy's going through this. He's doing this, works hard, great member community. This is not anything that, is ordinary in his behavior, blah, blah, blah. So same thing is coming here. My family and I met Christian over a year ago by way of Nancy and Joel Cano, the judges. We're not even at the judge's case yet. Says he introduced himself. Over the past year, Christian has been tremendous help to me and my family spread across 3 states. I'm traveling constantly. He makes sure the lawn is mowed, manicured, sprinkler system, security system. Very helpful with our car rental business, receiving, dealing with customers, full access to our garage. He's trustworthy, honest, always been a pleasure to be around. He himself been available for day and night, blah, blah, blah. Understanding young man, good manners. Right, very nice note. Again, President, Finn M Consulting, Mercedes Roybal. So I don't know if she's realizing she's, writing a letter to get involved in a criminal prosecution of a judge that becomes a national story. Like, yeah, sure, I'll write him a letter. Yeah, what, he's had his immigration problem? Sure, he does a great job with the yard. I hate to have him go. It's a national story. Oh, the judge got arrested. Oh, great. She's like, oh, great. That's great for me. Can't wait to be read on live streams all over the internet. Says, okay, here's another one. Filiberto Castorina sent another one in. Let's see if this one came through Cano. Professional senior resident engineer says, all right, look, yeah, lots of work. Christian, outstanding person of moral character. We asked Christian Ortega to house sit outside of my wife. Nobody's helped as much as Ortega. Strong work ethic, given his outstanding character. He's got all my qualities. Nice. Like, this is good work on their behalf. My name is Sonia Bailey. I'm a longtime resident of Las Cruces. Character reference for Ortega. Became acquainted with him from Nancy Cano. Again, she's like going hard. They're going hard for this dude. So they must have a lot of like love for this guy or something else is going on, but it's a lot. Each time I would visit the Cano residence, I would see Christian always greeted politely with a handshake. Each time I would visit with the judge, I would see Christian Ortega and was always greeted politely with a handshake. So he was like over there all the time. I observed this young man behaving respectfully and courteous of Nancy's home, always cleaning up after making his meals, helping her around the home. So he's like living with them. Christian even volunteered to help Nancy's husband, Joel, the judge, with a project at my home that I couldn't do myself. I found Christian, so he was like living with them. Yeah, he can come help you with that, like in-house labor. Joyful and sincere during our encounters. I always felt positive about him. Here's another one. This is lifelong resident Clarissa Nanawa Cano. Says, writing to endorse Ortega. I first came to know him 9 months ago. Young man who resided at the home of my in-laws. Resided at the Canos, whose personality seamlessly catapulted their integration in the day-to-day life of their new home and almost instantly became like family. From barbecues, family birthday celebrations, even a lovely Christmas in 2024, we had opportunities to learn more and get to know this young man. In the time I've known him, he has shown hard work ethic and kindness. And well, okay, got it. So then this one from another Nanawa. So the wife wrote one. So the other dude, Enrique, someone else writes one, says, hey, we met this dude on July 4th, partying on the 4th for my grandson's birthday at our home. He was a guest of the Cano family and was included in the invitation. We found him to be very cordial, helpful. He immediately volunteered to cook hot dogs and hamburgers for the kids. Wild. He enjoyed July 4th festivities as well. He's assimilating to the culture of the U.S. very well. All these people with like they're like slave labor, like love this dude. So then they got another one. He immediately volunteered to cook hot dogs. Jeremy says, my name's Jeremy. I'm writing this for Ortega. I've had the privilege of knowing him for 10 months. He's been residing at my parents' house for the duration of the time I've known him. Jeremy's the son. My observations of Ortega, he's kind, hardworking, trustworthy young man. Shown this behavior every single time I've encountered him. He's always willing to lend a helping hand to my parents, my grandmother, anyone who needs it. His character has always been warm, genuine. My family, including my elementary age children, any reservation I had from him when he was a total stranger is now gone because of how he carries himself. He genuinely feels like a part of the family. Maybe that's why they just love this dude. He's part of the family. And I hope this court considers that judgment. Here's another one. Exceedingly grateful. Who wrote this? Robbie Davis. Robbie. I thank you for allowing me to share my experience. He works hard. Another one. Christian Ortega came to live with me. Oh, this is from Nancy Cano. Says, Ortega came to live in my studio behind my home 11 months ago. From the wife. Upon meeting him, I knew and felt he could be trusted. While living in the studio, he was so respectful and helpful. He always greeted you with a smile and a small hug. Immediately, I helped him find different yard work jobs. Some people would pick him up. At many times, I took him to the job. He was extremely hard worker. Each job he got to, I was told he did an excellent job. No one was ever disappointed. I started to receive more requests to return him or more referrals for jobs. Interesting. On 5 different occasions, he went through Border Patrol checkpoints with no problems. Now, I took him in as my own son, says Nancy. I wanted him to go through the proper procedure to remain in the U.S., so I assisted him and took him to El Paso for biometrics. That was completed on April 24th. He received the change of location for his court hearing since it was scheduled. Now it is in El Paso. He's a fine, hardworking young man, lots of hopes for his future. He only wanted a better life and to come back. So please consider his future and give him a chance. All right, so that goes in. Now you see more. Adela Rodriguez, we got Exhibit 2. They sent all of this stuff in, right? So they sent some photos. This is the defense attorney sending this into the court saying, look, here he is in glasses. Look, he drinks coffee just like you, Judge. He kind of looks like an American. So just, you even say he put him in Starbucks. No one would even know. So, no big deal. So here's him installing windows at the judge's house. Wow. Amazing. He's hardworking, building things. Here's another one. They look good. Although that gap there at the bottom looks like it needs to be adjusted a little bit. Maybe just adjust it on the hinges a little bit. Lower that down a little bit for the wind. Oh, and then they submit this one. And look who it is. It's a judge. Oh no. Now they're hugging it up. Oh no. And there's Nancy too. All of this, of course, in the public files. And this is another photo of this fella right here along with the judge. Isn't that nice? Now, I don't know who these other people are. I don't know if one of these is Jeremy or, the other families or whatever, but here they're having dinner. Okay. And this is the defense attorney, right? He's submitting these for a reason. He's like, look, he's not murdering anybody. They're having Christmas dinner. The judge might even be taking the picture. This is probably the judge's plate right here. He's up taking the picture, right? He's hanging out. He's not murdering anybody or doing fentanyl. Look, they're not even snorting crack, okay? So don't deport this dude. This defense attorney is just trying to help. They got him Christmas presents, man. Look. Wow. So all of this, right, this is being submitted. There's a beer there, but probably non-alcoholic, so he's not even drinking it, so don't worry about it. We got other exhibits saying, look, right, he is going through the immigration process as well. They're like, Trump's coming in. We better get this going. So they show up. We got to do something. So then they show up. They say, look, he's doing immigration stuff. He's got hearings and more, and leave us alone. Okay. All of this is, again, from the defense. It's like a mitigation packet saying, look, he's got change of venue, all this stuff, and he's a real good dude. Exhibit 5, more immigration stuff, and the list goes on. All right. So they send that in. Now, they just literally fingered the judge. They're like, look, judge's entire family wrote stuff, and we got photos with the judge. So the judge is looking at this, and the judge is going to buy this, as we're going to see in a minute. The judge actually buys it. He's like, I know this dude, right? The judge who's hearing the case against him, it was effective, as we'll find out, in persuading the judge who's now handling this case. Like, I know this dude. Like, we went golfing together or whatever. Like, they're like BFFs. But it is at the expense of the judge, because now he's a part of the investigation. So it's not good for the judge. The judge's like, oh, crap. So, of course, the judge resigned basically immediately. This is what his letter was. As soon as he got wind of this, that other dude was getting arrested and charged on March 3rd, right, when the arrest was, he's like, I'm out of here. So he sent this letter in resigning. So to the chief judge from Judge Cano, the dude who was hugging the other dude, says, greeting, everyone. This letter is to inform you all of my intended resignation from the court as the judge in Division 6. My very last day at work will be on Friday, March 21st, at which time I will have resigned my office. Trying to run. Now, working with each of you has been a very rewarding experience for which I will remain eternally grateful. And all the best to every one of you. I wish all of you a happy retirement once you are ready yourself. Warmest regards. So he's just going off into retirement. Yeah. Okay. Going into retirement. So the story then, okay, so now we know the backdrop. We know what this guy is saying in terms of mitigation. Here is more from Trump and the DOJ in his case as this guy's trying to get out. Okay, so they just sent in that packet. Let this dude out. He has dinner with judges, right? So then Trump responds and says, okay, listen, here's the background. So they submitted this 3/28 shortly thereafter. They wrote, all right. On March 3rd, a criminal complaint was filed charging Ortega with being an unlawful alien in possession of a firearm. Here's why. January 2025, Homeland, Brianna, initiated an investigation into Ortega following the receipt of an anonymous tip. Now, the tip said an illegal alien from Venezuela, a suspected gangbanger, was residing with other illegal aliens at the judge's house in possession of a firearm. He unlawfully entered the country, was released because there was too many illegals, and so they let him out due to overcrowding. Agents learned on December 30th that Ortega uploaded photographs and videos showing him and other alleged gang members gangbanging out with firearms out there, Sig Sauers and more, posted videos and photos of ammo. Now, upon further investigations, agents identified videos and photos, as well as personal social media, that said he was there living with other illegal aliens at that address that had clear indicators of his association with Tren de Aragua, a transnational criminal organization, tattoos, clothing, hand gestures, and more. So then they got 2 search warrants. They were executed. They went in and they investigated a bunch of things. The defendant and his roommates were taken into custody. Okay, so Feb 28, warrants executed. Those dudes are raided. Judge resigns like the next day. He's like, I'm out. Agents also seized 4 firearms from April Cano's residence. Now, during a post-Miranda interview, we got some of this in the complaint, but they'll expand on it. Ortega admitted he entered illegally, came across Mexico, went to Denver to his immigration hearing, couldn't pay rent, so him and his roommates went to El Paso. Then they had a brother that resided there. Ortega and 5 other people were residing in El Paso when they met Nancy Cano. They got a job to install a glass door for her. He continued to do a few jobs for Nancy Cano. After being evicted, Nancy said, if you're being evicted, why don't you just live in my casita in the backyard? She shared with my husband, Jill, who is the judge. After coming to reside in Las Cruces, New Mexico in the earlier part of 2024, then Ortega was introduced to the judge's daughter, Nancy Cano's daughter, April Cano, who had all those firearms. Says Ortega advised Cano, said, well, you can hold this and you can shoot the guns. Ortega admitted that he can recognize the 4 firearms that they went and got from April after the search warrant and said, yep, I shot them, especially those 3 guns. Said, I know it's illegal. So then what happens? On March 3rd, the defendant appeared for his initial appearance. They created a pretrial services report. Now, according to the report, he said, yeah, I live there at the Nancy Cano address. But the owner was not assessed as a suitable third-party custodian due to the fact that he was arrested there. So then on the second pretrial services report, right, as you're kind of going through the process, you meet with people who talk to you about your status. The services assessed that Ortega does in fact pose a risk of non-appearance due to the offense charged. He has a lack of family, lack of residential, lack of community employment, lack of property, lack of financial ties to the United States, lack of verifiable, legitimate employment. He's got ties to a foreign country called Venezuela. He's got an unstable, unsuitable living condition and criminal history. Now, additionally, pretrial services said that Ortega poses a risk of danger because of the nature of the instant offense, which is criminal association, gang involvement, specifically with a potential connection to Tren de Aragua, a transnational organization. Also, criminal history and a charge involving violence. Let's see what that says. So consequently, then, pretrial services said he should be detained. Okay, so think about it this way. Like when you're prosecuted for a crime, the defense is going to say you did nothing wrong. You should be let out and go free. Prosecution is going to say you're the worst in the world. You should never be let out because you're a monster. So then pretrial services is from the court, and the court will kind of do their independent assessment and give the judge their take. So then everybody can kind of have the take, and the judge will listen to pretrial services. So it's like 2 versus 1, right? If the prosecutor and pretrial say you're staying in custody, the judge is probably going to go that way. If pretrials and the defense say let him out, judge will probably go that way. It's kind of like that. If it's neutral, if pretrial's like, we don't know, judge, up to you, then you got to make your arguments and they'll take it from anyways. So consequently, pretrial recommended that he stay detained because there's no condition or combination of conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of that dude back, Ortega. So then we get in front of a judge, right? On March 14th, magistrate judge called Damian Martinez, he held a detention hearing. During the hearing, Judge Martinez asked the U.S. prosecutor, Maria Armijo, he said, Miss Armijo, do you know Judge Cano, the judge who was bro-hugging him? When Armijo, the U.S. attorney Maria, said, no, Your Honor, I don't. The judge said, well, I have. Well, not in this courtroom, but I've met him several times, and he's got a BS meter like you. A lot of people have never seen. He knows when somebody is BSing him, says this judge. Okay, so what does that mean? It worked. That defense attorney's mitigation worked. The judge, the other judge, and so that defense attorney may have known something that we don't really. In other words, sorry for all of this clicking around. I don't know where the hell I just went. Anyways, the defense attorney may have known that the judge or the judges knew each other and says, look, he's hanging with the judge. Like, that's why all the judge stuff was in there. So it worked. After the hearing and the argument from the parties, then Judge Martinez said, like I said, I don't think Judge Cano has a BS meter, and I don't think he would just let anybody live in his property. So since he was at their Christmas dinner, I think he's safe. So the judge then overruled the prosecution, Maria Armijo, and pretrial services, right? Judge overruled him and said, well, he was hugging the judge. So the defendant was not a flight risk or a danger to the community because he had dinner with them, right? Like, it worked. Like, they bought it. Like, shout out to that public defender for that argument. Judge bought it. And people sometimes think that this stuff doesn't work, and it does work. Like, you got to pull on the human strings. I used to represent clients like, why am I getting all this stuff for you? Like, just get me more letters. Just get me more letters. Get me pictures. Get me this, whatever you got. Make it can't be fake, but it's got to be real. And they go get it, and judge, yeah. I think one case, the judge was moved by a photo of a dog. I'm not joking you on that. So just to be clear, Judge Martinez also requested PTS conduct another interview with Nancy Cano to assess whether or not she could be a third-party custodian. He's like, give him back to Nancy. On March, because they're all like in this club. On March 17th, the government filed a notice of appeal order setting conditions of release. As of the filing of this document, no amended report has been here. Okay, so the Trump prosecution is saying, look, judge, like, you can't let this dude out, right? A defendant may be detained pending bail. This involves a firearm. Hello. So you can't do it. Defendant is a flight risk, and there are no conditions or a combination of conditions or anything. And it all weighs in favor of keeping him here. Here, he admitted that he knowingly possessed firearms, even though he knew it was illegal for him to do so. And try this with a felon, by the way. Like, if you're a convicted felon and you are caught with a firearm, they charge you with another felony, being a prohibited possessor. Oh, like, they don't act kindly to you on that at all. Like, prison again. So with his exposure to a lengthy prison sentence, he's got a so it's like, don't act like this is a minor thing. Oh, so what if you had a gun, Second Amendment, whatever? Try that if you're a felon, or or you got like a domestic violence conviction or something like that. It's a joke because you broke a glass one time that was your glass in a trash can in an argument that didn't hurt anybody, or your wife did, right, or something. But anyways, the point is, like the gun thing, a lot of people will say, well, so what if he's out there shooting his firearms? I love the Second Amendment. Try being a prohibited possessor if you're a U.S. citizen, or somebody who's got even an order of protection out there, and some psycho judge just says your firearm it's gone, and you get caught with that, like, wrecked. Prosecutors will wreck you and judges will wreck you too, but not this. Even this guy admits, no, I'm illegal, like, whatever, I can shoot guns. They don't. No, let him out. Go back home. Think this judge would do that if this guy wore a MAGA hat and was out there as a prohibited possessor shooting firearms? No, obviously not. For all he's like, the judge, though. The judge had him in his casita, and they had margaritas together, just like Senator Van Hollen did with the other gangbangers. Says, all right, Trump people say, the weight of the evidence is in our favor, okay? We got literal photos of this dude. He's got firearms on his social media. He admitted to it on camera. The evidence is strong. We got photographs. We got videos. And he's a flight risk, okay? He's not a citizen. He's not a national of the United States. So it's not the same. He entered illegally in Texas from Mexico at a location other than a designated port of entry. He was not admitted or paroled in the country at the time of his apprehension. He was issued a notice to appear, and it indicates that he is not lawful here. Said you are not admitted. You were not then admitted or paroled after inspection, right? All that was clear. Now, the defendant was released on his OR, on his own recognizance, on conditional parole, because Joe Biden said humanitarian and safety issues because of all of the overcrowding. Remember that insanity? Released on conditional parole, it's very distinct from other things. Now, he did not claim asylum. Had he claimed asylum, he would have been placed into credible fear screening and more. But he was not issued a credible fear worksheet at all. He did not file a withholding I-589 for withholding. Oh, he did file 4 months later on April 24th. And that was the biometrics appointment that Nancy Cano said that she drove him to. This which is the judge's wife. That application was improperly filed with USCIS and has been administratively closed for lack of jurisdiction. So that's closed. When an alien is placed in removal, jurisdiction transfers to that agency, and an entity of Homeland will now take over. Now, as the defendant has been placed in removal proceedings, they can't adjudicate it over there, so he must file a form now. As of this filing, he's not done that. Now, he is a flight risk. He's got to comply with conditions, and he already violated those. Violated the terms of his release, failed to seek permission to move, never notified Homeland when he did move. He did not receive written permission from any immigration officer to move from Denver to El Paso, but again, they don't care, whatever. In fact, the defendant never even listed El Paso on his address at all. And second, he also violated the terms of his release by working without authorization, which is prohibited. In his notice of filing of other claims, he submitted a letter from Nancy Cano, the owner of the property where he was living and the proposed custodian, wherein she states she helped him find different yard work jobs and even took him to the job. Now, by his own admissions, he violated the terms of his release. He said, I'll be released, but I can't work unlawfully. He did. In fact, that is how the defendant claims he met the judge's wife, right? The judge is facilitating the unlawful working, saying in detention arguments, the defense attorney even said, Your Honor, through a friend, he was able to get a bus ticket back to El Paso where he knew someone could get him part-time work doing construction. This is how he meets third-party custodian Nancy, the judge's wife. He and 5 others were working part of a construction crew that were hired to do work on her home. I'm sure they're paying market rate for that and reporting the income. Those were 2 of the exhibits that were provided to the court. There were these huge windows installed in the back of her home. But my client, Ortega, after doing the job for the wife, the judge's wife, he approaches her, gives her his number and says, ma'am, I'm here. I'm living in El Paso and I'm looking for work. Oh, can't do that. So he violated the terms of his release again when he possessed the firearm. So then he has demonstrated, okay, he's not following the rules. He poses a significant risk of flight because he's now caught in a crime. And he's got clear indicators of gang affiliation. Now, Tren de Aragua has expanded its criminal network throughout the Western Hemisphere, including into the United States, New Mexico, and Western Texas. Their criminal activities, Tren de Aragua, includes human smuggling and other illicit acts that target migrants. They've got additional revenue sources through various forms of trafficking, drugs, firearms, people, kids, theft, fraud, extortion. They eliminate people, they assault people, other acts of violence, ties to other criminal groups, and more. They engage in violent activities, and there is another gang that have disavowed the gang and described themselves as anti-Tren. This is weird. So some of them have broken off. It's like Tren and anti-Tren. I guess they changed their identity. TDA members engage in other things, in part, which is related to hostility between them. Now, their identity between TDA or anti-Tren can be fluid. They are fluid. They're gangbang fluid. Wow. A gang member may switch between the 2 affiliations depending on the time and context, just like many people in the Democratic Party. Unbelievable. Makes sense? Yeah. Both kind of, gang-like mentality. Yeah. And violent. In this case, Ortega has been designated as a member of Tren de Aragua based on the following. Ortega has tattoos associated with Tren on his body. He also posted himself wearing this necklace, Real Hasta la Muerta necklace. He posted photographs of himself throwing gang signs that are associated, and he commonly posted photographs with emojis that are associated with Tren. He also is associated with other Tren gang members, and additionally, agents seized 3 cell phones that are associated with Ortega on February 28th. A search of the cell phones revealed the following, which affirmed the fact that he is a Tren member. Here's what we got on the phone. A conversation with an individual on April 30th in which Ortega refers to his AK-47 tattoo as the Aragua train and comments that he's worried about telling his patrona about it. Ed, would you like to allow, what should I do, everybody? Click allow. All right, Feds just got access. Should I have done that or not? All right. It says he's worried about telling his patrona about it. Who's his patrona? the judge. Uh-oh. Or his patrona. Maybe it's Nancy. It's the wife. Oh, I don't know. But that seems pretty clear. Now, a conversation with an individual when they discuss Ortega on his cell phone, they discuss the $5,000 reward offered by the state of Texas for trend members, and they joke about the reward money. Oh, they're like, hey, should we turn ourselves in? Yeah. Should we get $5,000 a piece? What are you going to do with your 5,000 if we turn ourselves in? Joking about it. Oh, and then there's also a conversation with an individual in which the other participant warns Ortega about sending photographs that might jeopardize him in the US. That also includes a reason to get a grenade or 238s. Subsequent to that conversation, there is a set of gruesome photos, of two brutal murder victims that includes mutilated bodies, decapitated heads, and dismembered hands. Wow. There it is, my friends. They save the big, juicy, disgusting meatball for the end. And it's fun when they do that, when they write them this way. They save it's like the end of a movie. They do it on purpose, right? Like the big ones at the end. Like this whole time, you're like, whatever. Okay, tattoos. He's wearing some outfits or whatever. Then they're like, okay, his tattoo is a gang tattoo. He said it. They've also got money where they're saying we should probably turn ourselves in, like a joke like that. And then it's literal murder right there. Wild. Great filing there from the DOJ. Says, so he should be detained in this case, Judge, in case you were waiting. No conditions are going to reasonably assure his appearance. The United States respectfully requests the court find that he's a flight risk and a danger and make sure you don't let him out. So that was on 3/28, electronically filed by U.S. Attorney Maria Armijo, it looks like, and Ryan Ellison submitted together. Very nice filing and saying, wow, there it is. So they all bought it, right? So much for that judge's BS meter. Doesn't look like we saw much of that. So what we have then is all of that got filed, and we've got various briefs that got submitted. We read through that. And now we're going to be waiting for a decision on the judge. So there's a battle now about that hearing. Okay. Response by the USA to vacate the hearing. And it looks like we're going to have a hearing that's going to be scheduled very soon. Motion on reconsider to consider the pretrial release of that guy on April 30th, 2025. So coming up soon on that. So that case is proceeding. Now, we haven't even gotten to the judge's charges yet. That's all the background. So then, as we saw, the judge resigned. Okay, he resigned immediately. As soon as they came and raided the house, he's like, okay, that's my house. We're in big trouble. Then they really point out that strong relationship with the judge. Then we see they show up and arrest them. We got criminal charges and a new case now. This is U.S. versus Cano. In response to Ortega's charges, we see we just got the docs filed yesterday and the criminal complaint released today. So this dude got arrested. We got a bunch of additional updates. We got his initial appearance doc that just also popped up fresh out of the oven. We love when that happens. So here's what we got cooking now. We've got an entry of appearance. So this guy's got an attorney now. The guy's name is William Lutz, the judge. The judge who got charged with a crime. The case, of course, is in the federal court, District of New Mexico. He's already hired an attorney. William Lutz, probably a friend who's been in his courtroom, got him. He's going to come in and represent him. Now, the charges that we see occur from this time frame, March 9th to the 23rd, 2025, very recently. So after the raid, when they went and came and got Ortega. So this is what the criminal complaint looks like, again, from Brianna. Shout out to Brianna. Cleaning house over there. Saying, all right, in January 2025, Homeland Security Investigations, Las Cruces, initiated an investigation into Ortega. We just went through that whole case. A tip alleged that Ortega, an illegal alien from Venezuela and a suspected member of a criminal gang, was residing with other illegal aliens in the United States at the judge's house, and that they were in possession of firearms. Nancy and Jose are the owners of the premises. Now, on February 28th, 2 residential federal search warrants were executed, one being on the premises in connection with Ortega. He was arrested. He's currently charged with illegal alien in possession of a firearm. He's booked. He's got criminal proceedings. We just saw that. 4 firearms previously seen in his possession because he was showing them on social media were seized from the other residence that was also searched simultaneously. 3 of his Ortega's cell phones were seized. Now, additionally, they also, on February 28th, the day the search warrants were executed for Ortega and the day he was taken into custody, agents permitted Ortega to make a phone call before transporting him to the facility. Agents provided Ortega access to the mobile devices that he had been seized. Ortega stated that the phone containing the number he wished to call was not among the mobile devices available to him. He's got multiple cell phones. Based on the interaction, law enforcement formed the belief that one of his mobile devices may not have been recovered during the execution of the search warrant. Not on the phone. Saying the residential search warrants also authorized the forensic analysis of the cell phones that were seized. In addition, law enforcement asked Ortega for consent to search the cell phones that belonged to him. Ortega agreed and signed the consent form. They're like, this is easy. During the analysis of the phones belonging and utilized by Ortega, messages were obtained from at least one of his Facebook accounts. The messages reflect Ortega's Tren de Aragua affiliation and photos of Ortega in possession of firearms and ammunition, living with the judge. The deletion of these accounts would hinder the investigation and destroy evidence pertaining to Ortega's criminal case. Want to preserve that. On April 24th, then, Homeland agents executed a search warrant at the residence of Jose the judge and Nancy Cano, looking for what they believed to be Ortega's cell phone that was not recovered, and for Nancy Cano's cell phone. After being advised of his Miranda rights, the judge agreed to speak to the agents, which makes him the dumbest judge in America. He gets read his Miranda rights. He's like, sure, what do you guys want to talk about? I'm smarter than you because I'm a judge. Next paragraph. They're like, oh, you're dumb too. Okay. Well, during the interview, the judge admitted, among other things, don't talk if you're charged with a crime. And I'm not encouraging criminality, but this is what happens. Even if you're a judge, and this is instructive, even judges think that they're smarter, okay? They even think, oh, no, I'm going to explain myself out of it. I'm so smart. I'm a judge. Defense attorneys do this. Politicians do this all the time. Everybody does it. You think you're going to talk yourself out of it. That's why you can't do it, because everything you say will be used against you. All right, that's just a little PSA. Even the judge, like, yeah, we're talking about. Okay, like I got to tell you, like the security in agents, they got to just be laughing their asses off. They're like, what are you talking? Like a judge just talked to us. Yeah, even a judge talked. It's got to be hysterical from their perspective. Hilarious. Like check boxes. We got a judge to literally talk to us and admit everything. Among other things, he admitted that he destroyed the cell phone that belonged to Ortega by smashing it with a hammer, and he discarded the remaining pieces in the city trash dumpster 5 weeks ago. He admits the whole crime. Incredible. It's not even like a little thing. He's like, well, I thought he was like a good person and I had no idea. And like white lies. Oh, what'd you do with the cell phone? Smashed it with a hammer and destroyed it. Threw it in a dumpster so you'll never find it. He's a judge. It's ridiculous. Specifically, the judge stated, no, he said explained everything. It's like when you watch those, crime shows, and like that dude explained everything. Why did he do that? You're like, well, maybe he's psycho or something. It's like, no, some people just talk. It's crazy. Jose Cano, the judge, stated that he destroyed the cell phone, further admitted he believed the cell phone contained photos or videos that would reflect negatively on that guy, okay, or on him. Now, if you can ascribe this to just idiocy, you could just say this judge is a moron. He's dumb. He just talks. Or there was something worth destroying on that phone that is worth this criminal charge. just to be clear. Yep, I destroyed it. I crushed it with a hammer. Because if you would have seen what's on there, I'd be getting a lot worse than an obstruction charge, right? A lot worse. And I'll live with an obstruction charge. I'm fine with that, right? Oftentimes you'll see people like with DUI or something, though they'd rather get leaving the scene than a DUI or something because they run away and then their blood comes down. Like, no, we're abandoning your car in public. Oh, okay, so it's like you just pick your crime. What charge are you going to get? And own up to the other one. Yep, sing like a bird. Yep, whatever you want. I destroyed it. I was freaked out. I thought it was going to be bad for him, and I'm innocent. Because maybe they had, videos of them making pupusas on there, as we saw as a big thing in El Salvador. Or maybe something else is going on. But through further questioning, agents ascertained that the judge destroyed the cell phone, believing it contained photograph of Ortega holding firearms that Ortega had uploaded onto social media, right? So that makes you the dumbest judge in the world. Well, there were photos on there, and I was afraid that they were also in the cloud, so I was going to destroy the phone. Do you think destroying the phone also removes them from Facebook, Judge? Do you think that? Which would be additionally incriminating evidence against him, right? So the judge is admitting to destroying the evidence. Now, because this affidavit is being submitted for the purpose of establishing probable cause, we believe this is enough. I've not included everything that we need here, but I make this affidavit with this knowledge. So the judge made an executive decision, destroyed the phone. I got to believe he's not a total moron. And so he destroyed it with good reason. He is trying to cover something else up on there. Can't imagine he's dumb enough to think that destroying the phone is also going to destroy the photos on the social media platforms. Can't imagine he's that dumb. So he just made a judgment call and decided to destroy evidence. Now he's getting hit with obstruction and tampering with evidence charges. And maybe there is much more to come on this, but what was on that phone, we apparently shall never know. And so we saw Fox News was reporting on that. There's the photo of the judge. We also saw Kristi Noem was talking about this, and she said, under President Trump, we've arrested 150,000 illegal aliens, including more than 600 members of the vicious gang called Tren de Aragua. If you're here illegally and you break the law, we're going to hunt you down, arrest you, and lock you up. That's a promise from Kristi Noem. And looks like here's a little report from Fox News, courtesy of Colin Rugg. Or it looks like his arrest, rather. So that was the judge in handcuffs. All right, so we see him standing out there, and that's the wife who just got arrested too and charged. Documents unsealed today. And it looks like they also just had a court proceeding. So let's see what the minute entry looks like over here. So today, they appeared in front of a judge. Judge is checking off the boxes, telling us the court questions the defendants. Do you understand you can read and write, understand your age, how old are you, how far did you go in school, you can understand what's happening in this hearing, all the things. Yes, got it. You know what the maximum penalties are under this charge? Explains them. Yes, I know. It's 9-minute hearing. You understand your constitutional rights? Yeah. Oral motion for a detention hearing by the government. Wow. The court grants the hearing. Hearing set 429, and he is in custody. So here's what they write. Says, this is what happened at the hearing. Jane Greek is present for both defendants. So husband and wife, judge and Mrs. Judge are there. Saying, and this is Joel Cano says, Your Honor, I was just called by the FPD office earlier today, and I was just appointed in this case. The judge says, well, it's procedurally improper to have a court-appointed representation for the initial appearance. Normally, you just stand in for the limited purpose of the initial appearance, but you're not actually appointed. She says, this is weird, the judge. This is the first time in 9 years, I think, that a CGA appointment has been made for an initial appearance. She says, this is weird to me, the judge, which makes doing so very irregular. Jane, what are you doing here? You're not normally here. You guys never show up for these. Why'd you get appointed on this one? I've never seen that before. 9 years, I haven't seen that. It's very irregular, but okay. Says William and David Lutz also enter their appearances for the defendants. William Lutz, we saw him, advised, Your Honor, I'm going to arrange one of the defendants to have separate counsel. I'm not going to represent both husband and wife because that would be a conflict of interest. And this is going to be great. Husband and wife cases are great because they try to, point the finger at each other, or make them point the finger at each other with plea deals. Give you a good deal if you point the finger over there, and you a better deal if you point the finger over there. Of course, they're married, so they got marital and spousal privileges to contend with as well. But it's interesting. Yeah. So separate counsel, so there's no conflict of interest. So represent her. Okay. Jane Greek, for the defense appointed, says, Your Honor, David Lutz reads the complaint. He says, okay, yeah, Your Honor, we do have a copy of the complaint. So David Lutz reads it to Nancy, says, all right, so I'm going to read this to Nancy. Nancy, because what you're charged with, you got these. Jane, here's what you're charged with, just making sure you got this. To Joel, to the judge. Judge says, okay. Jane Greek states, Your Honor, the defense, I spoke to the U.S. Attorney, Maria Armijo, and we would like a detention hearing as soon as possible, including as like early as this afternoon if we can. We want to get them out of custody. Well, I don't think we can do it this afternoon. So what I think we would do is we're going to hold them over, and we're going to benefit. I could benefit from a pretrial report. So I don't know what has happened here. It's obstruction. It sounds like they're, destroying evidence. So I really can't let them out. So we're going to set it early on Tuesday. Preliminary detention hearing, 4/29, 9 a.m. next week. We'll cover it here, of course. Court detains the defendants temporarily. Judge Cano remains in custody for the weekend. Defendants are going to be interviewed by pretrial services. I'm sure they are not happy about this. This judge thinking, you're holding me, a judge, in custody? Yeah, you shouldn't have smashed the phone, judge, and hidden evidence of all your papusa making with an illegal alien, Tren de Aragua gangbanger, who is sharing videos of mutilated bodies from his gangbanging buddies. So that has all happened. And we, of course, are going to keep our eye on this one, continue to cover it. Thank you for subscribing and joining as we do. We know there'll be a detention hearing. He's going to try to get out of custody. The judge has already seen some benefits of being a judge, or at least in the Ortega case, they gave that guy the benefit. They were going to let him out. They're holding him in custody. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to this. I think the judge probably destroyed that phone, not for Ortega's benefit. Like, if you come and got it, you're going to find out that he had some, like, it's a gun situation. So the judge is going to fall on the sword for him and destroy evidence to protect him from gun charges. What was on that phone? Was it papusa making, or was it something more? Hopefully we find out. We'll be covering it. Thanks for subscribing and joining as we do. All right, so good stuff on that one, my friends. We're not done yet. We've got a whole nother judge who also got arrested today. And let's do a refresh on this because this is all breaking too. See where we're at on this. We got the complaint. We got release conditions. Oh, we got good stuff. All right, so we've got some new stuff coming out from the Judge Dugan case. And here is that other clip that I wanted. Sometimes I'm just a little bit tab out of control. All right, we're here. We got this one. Criminal charges for another judge. This one accused of trying to help an illegal alien evade arrest. ICE shows up in her courtroom. She's got an illegal there. ICE is saying, we'd like to talk to that person and arrest him and bring him into custody because he's an illegal. She takes this dude and absconds him out the back of the courtroom. You've seen judges come in and out of those back room doors. You've seen them bring defendants in or people from the incarceration facilities in and out, and the chains, in and out those doors. And there's little back halls in there, back to the chambers, and you can go in and out of the buildings that way, which is how the judges escape scrutiny, hiding in the gutters. But she was facilitating the obstruction of the federal agents who were in her courtroom, and she's been charged with a crime. In fact, she was seen fleeing the courtroom herself. The media was captured by Matt Smith over at Matt Smith_news on X, saying, new video from our crews show Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan and her attorney leaving the federal courthouse in Milwaukee and not commenting at all, saying the FBI arrested her at another courthouse this morning, charged with 2 felonies. We'll look at the full complaint for obstructing an ICE arrest last week.
Judge.
Here she is. Judge, hey, Judge.
Anything to say about this?
Judge. Where you going, Judge? Where you going? Where you going? Don't you want to answer questions? Don't you want to be held accountable to the people? Where are you going? Why are you running so fast? Just say something. Yeah. Who's driving that car, too? He hits the gas like they're just completing a bank heist or something. Get out of there. Bye. All right. So she, of course, has been charged, Judge Dugan, for helping illegals. And here is how this announcement was made. Now, there was a little bit of a hubbub about this morning. Kash Patel posted a note about this and then deleted the post and then reposted it again. I don't know why. I think it might have just been a technical error or something, a typo. But here it was. He said, just now, the FBI arrested Judge Hannah Dugan out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on charges of obstruction after evidence of Judge Dugan obstructing an immigration arrest operation last week. We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse, somebody named Eduardo, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest, just like the judge evaded the public. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since. But the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public. We will have more to share soon. Excellent work, FBI Milwaukee, for arresting the judge who is obstructing the law. Now, that was deleted, but it has been confirmed. She's been arrested and she's been charged. You see, this is the case in the Eastern District of Wisconsin, U.S. versus Dugan, brought in front of Stephen C. Dries in federal court. She was not a federal court, but the complaint has been signed, sealed, and delivered. And here is what it looks like. You see 2 charges against the judge, Hannah C. Dugan, brought by the United States of America, the Pam Bondi DOJ out of the Eastern District of Wisconsin in federal district court, saying on April 18th in Milwaukee in Wisconsin, this judge committed 2 crimes: obstruction and impeding a proceeding before a department or agency of the United States, and concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest. Unbelievable. This one came in from Lindsay Schlomer, FBI special agent. Shout out to Lindsay. Man, it's fun to kind of cheer on FBI agents and Homeland Security agents and government prosecutors for once. Let's see how long that lasts. But here this one goes. She says, all right, look, I am Lindsay, and here, I'm a special agent of the FBI. Now, I've been employed since 2014, and I am currently assigned to Milwaukee. Now, as such, I'm an investigative or law enforcement agent of the United States, and I'm an officer of the United States who's empowered by the law to investigate crimes, and also worked as a CPA for 7 years before my employment with the FBI. So she knows those numbers. Now, I'm currently assigned to the White Collar Crime Squad, investigates public corruption crimes, civil rights crimes, financial crimes. During my tenure with the FBI, I participated in investigations involving corruption of public officials, payments, kickbacks, and more. I participated in many aspects, including executing arrest warrants and more. Now, I base all this upon my information. I refer to case agents and more. Now, I make this affidavit to support a criminal complaint charging the judge, Hannah C. Dugan with 2 crimes. 1, obstructing or impeding a proceeding before a department or agency of the United States, and concealing or preventing an individual to avoid their arrest. Now, this affidavit is merely intended to show that there is probable cause for this criminal complaint and is not everything you need to know about it. So here we go. Now, FBI agent Lindsay. I'm aware from a review of public records that on March 18th, Eduardo Flores Ramirez was charged by the Milwaukee County Circuit Court in case number, this number, with 3 counts of battery, domestic abuse, infliction of pain or injury. Okay, so this dude charged with crimes, battery, which is like assault, so abusing somebody in a domestic relationship, 3 counts, physical pain or injury. Don't know what the extent of the injury is, but 3 counts. Now, agents from Homeland identified Flores Ruiz as an individual who's not lawfully in the United States. A review of the registration file, called the A file, indicated that he's a native and a citizen of Mexico, and that he'd been issued an order of expedited removal by the United States Border Patrol in 2013. Oh, and that this guy was thereafter removed to Mexico through Nogales, Arizona. There is no evidence indicating that he ever got permission to come back. So he already got deported, came back, beat someone up, got charged with the crime. They called the cops. They arrested him. ICE catches notice of this. They say, oh, yeah, we know this dude. Already deported. Now he's beating people. Okay, we're going to come get him. The Milwaukee ICE office determined through biometric fingerprint comparison. He comes in, fingerprint him. Yep, they go, oh yeah, we got him. And matches the same dude. We removed him before. Same guy. Fingerprint match. Got it. On April 17th, then, an authorized immigration official found probable cause to believe, yep, he's removable. They issued a warrant for his arrest. They said, got him. Yeah, same guy. The warrant said, all right, illegal person, you were commanded to arrest and take into custody this warrant to the police for removal proceedings back to immigration. So there's an active warrant out. Now, upon his arrest, he would be given notice of an intent to reinstate his prior removal order. He would have an opportunity to contest this. He could make a written or oral statement to an immigration officer and everything. Okay, so if he wants to challenge his deportation, judge, he's going to have due process. All he's got to do is appeal and complain, make a statement. Now, the Milwaukee ICE team was aware that on April 18th, he was scheduled to attend a hearing in his case. The hearing was set to take place in Milwaukee in front of the judge called Hannah C. Dugan, the judge we just saw, fleeing the courthouse. Based upon information, members of the ICE task force in Milwaukee traveled to the courthouse. They had the written arrest warrant in hand for the purpose of executing the warrant. FBI agent says, now I'm aware that law enforcement routinely executes warrants and makes arrests in public areas of buildings like the county courthouse. The reasons for this include not only the fact that law enforcement knows the location where the wanted individual should be, but also the fact that the wanted individual would have entered through security and will be unarmed, right? They're clear. Minimizing the risk of injury to law enforcement, the public, and the wanted individual. So as such, members of Milwaukee ICE, they developed a plan to arrest this dude outside courtroom 615 right after his criminal court appearance with Dugan. Okay, so that judge can complete her business. As soon as he walks out, ICE agents are standing there. Hey, I am aware that 2 prior arrests in public areas of Milwaukee have happened. They were not lawfully present in the United States. They've also gotten public attention, okay? Both incidents involved individuals that had been charged with criminal offenses, but who were not in custody, but who did show up for their criminal cases. Now, I'm also aware that pursuant to its policies, which had been made known to courthouse officials, ICE was focusing its resources on apprehending these people in criminal cases and not arresting victims, witnesses, or individuals appearing for family matters or civil court. Okay, so okay, you guys know we're doing this. The court knows we're doing it. We're not going after people who are delinquent on custody. We're not going after witnesses who are illegal. If you're a victim of a crime and you're illegal, okay, we're not coming for you. If you're a criminal defendant charged with a crime, we're coming for you. But anyone else, we don't care. Now, What happened was 6 members of the ICE team planned to take part in the arrest of this dude on April 15th. This included ICE Deportation Officer A, another CBP Officer A, FBI Special Agent A and B, DEA Agent A and B, and they were all dressed in plain clothes. They were going to effectuate the arrest in a low-key, safe manner as possible. They show up, okay, we've got 6 dudes, we're going to figure this out. Now, at approximately 8 a.m., Deportation Officer A and CBP Officer A, they show up to the courthouse. They say, hey, guys, we're here. Here's our ID to the security guard. Oh, hey, what's up, guys? What are you guys doing here? Yeah, we're here. We're going to make an arrest. Deportation Officer A and Border Agent A were asked to show not only their credentials, but also their badges. So the security guard says, what? You're here for what? Okay, well, I got to speak with a supervisor. Okay. They say, what? You need to check with us. Like, you usually walk right in, right? Those guys walk in. Like, oh, here's bad security. Come on in, guys. A shift sergeant then with Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office was contacted and then spoke with Deportation Officer A. They discussed the details of the arrest. Like, oh, you guys are making an arrest. Okay, let me somebody know. Okay, where is it? Okay, we'll clear it out. The sergeant asked that any arrest wait until after the completion of the scheduled hearing before Dugan. They said, yeah, no problem. That's standard practice anyway. So we're going to allow the court proceeding to happen. And then they were allowed to proceed unescorted outside the public hallway. So they said, yeah, just wait till it's over. The sergeant comes down, says, no problem. And they handle it. So they let the feds through. The other members of the arrest team were already present in the 6th floor public hallway when they arrived, right? The other dudes just show right up. Like, oh, you're law enforcement? Yeah, come on in. Then when ICE shows up and the deportation folks show up, they're like, what's your badge? Where are you here? What are you guys doing? But the other people were allowed in. They make the point. Before Deportation Officer A and CBP Officer A arrived outside the courtroom, FBI A and B had advised the deputy that law enforcement, so FBI agents had already gone into the courtroom. They talked to the security in court. They say, hey, we're FBI, we're feds here. We're going to arrest this dude. They displayed their credentials to the courtroom deputy. Deputy's like, okay. So then the deputy informed him that they were going to arrest Flores. They agreed that the arrest would take place after the appearance. The agents then left the courtroom, took positions at different locations in the hall, staking it out. Case agents have interviewed the courtroom deputy present on April 18th, and they corroborated the above information. Okay, so this is all being reported also by all of the feds who were there. Like, they're all standing there. Like, this judge is so dumb. There's like 6 federal agents who are going to report, like, and witness all of this. The courtroom deputy had opened the doors to the courtroom at approximately 8:15 and reported that individuals began checking in for a list of matters scheduled that morning, because they handle sometimes, dozens of matters in a morning, and they just go through the list. So all the people waiting outside, click, click, doors open, go in. The courtroom deputy had received a list of individuals appearing that day. The deputy checked in defendants. Okay, we got who's next? Everybody gets checked in. The courtroom deputy explained that at 8:15, FBI agents advised they were working with ICE and they were going to arrest Flores. The courtroom deputy asked that the agents wait outside. So attorneys go to the clerk, deputies, the courtroom deputy checked in. So then the courtroom deputy they advised him that. The courtroom deputy then asked the agents, okay, you guys go wait outside until after the hearing. So everybody's checking in. Agents go up, talk to the dude. Okay, 8:15, we're here. Agents agreed, we're going to leave the courtroom. The courtroom deputy then told the case agents that after an ICE arrest in the courthouse earlier that month, a shift sergeant had asked the bailiffs to alert a supervisor if ICE agents were in the building. So accordingly, the courtroom deputy notified the shift sergeant. Don't know if it was the same person as before or not. So then arrest team members reported that while waiting outside the courtroom, a woman approached and took photos of the arrest team members. And a lot of these gangbangers are doing that. They're like taking, the ACLU gangbang lovers are all taking, you're from ICE, taking pictures and trying to shame them for protecting the country. DEA Agent B, who was inconspicuously seated away from the group, was not photographed. The individual taking the photographs of the agents has been identified by multiple witnesses as an attorney employed by the public defender's office. Wow, that's bold. So team members observed Flores arrive on the 6th floor of the courthouse at 8:43. He was greeted by his attorney and maybe a different attorney than attorney A, but was greeted by his attorney. They entered the courtroom together. So then they're in the courtroom. Sessions happening. Witnesses have described Judge Dugan's response to learning of ICE's presence. And they're trying to figure out like where everybody is. And so they're in the courtroom now. For example, the courtroom deputy indicated that when Flores arrived, Judge Dugan already was on the bench and conducting proceedings because they go through a bunch of different matters. Okay, who's next? What's that? Continuance. Okay, you got this problem. What's that? Taking a plea. Okay, let's do that right now. Go through a bunch of them. The courtroom deputy observed attorney A, the same attorney who had photographed the agents, enter and approach the clerk. Attorney A stated that there appeared to be ICE agents in the hallway. Attorney A then told the clerk where the agents were seated and what they were wearing. Wow, who is this attorney? She's like reporting on the feds. The feds are here. We got to do something about this. The courtroom deputy reported that the clerk then got up, talked with Judge Dugan. Judge Dugan became visibly angry, commented that the situation was, this is absurd. They're here in my courtroom for what? She then left the bench and entered the chambers. At the time, the illegal Flores was seated in the gallery of the courtroom. He has no idea what's going on, right? Another individual, attorney B, who was working as an assistant DA in Judge Dugan's courtroom, was there. According to attorney B, there were approximately 8 criminal cases. So this would be a prosecutor. Okay, so the other attorney who was ratting out the feds was a defense attorney. The same one who was taking the photos was a defense attorney, but attorney B is a prosecutor. And they should both be in there because these are criminal matters. So one at one desk, one on the other desk. According to the prosecutor, there were approximately 8 criminal cases, including Flores's, scheduled for pretrial hearings that morning. Attorney B was aware that the victims for the Flores criminal case were in court. So multiple victims. She's beating everybody. And the prosecutor is going to be interfacing with the victims, right? He's like, well, I got to run this deal by them. So they showed up. They're freaked out. While the prosecutor was busy preparing the morning docket, the prosecutor heard someone announce, ICE is here. Shortly thereafter, attorney B, the prosecutor, heard Judge Dugan say she was going to call the chief judge before she left the courtroom. So then members of the arrest team, they reported the following events after Judge Dugan learned of their presence and left the bench. Judge goes haywire, gets up, storms out. I'm calling the chief judge. So Judge Dugan and Judge A, who were both wearing judicial robes, they came out with their cloaks on, and they approached members of the arrest team in the public hallway. They said, oh, a defense attorney notified us that you're here. Judge A's courtroom is located adjacent to Judge Dugan's courtroom. Witnesses uniformly reported that Judge Dugan was very visibly upset. She had a confrontational, angry demeanor, screaming. And I've seen judges like this many times. Judge Dugan addressed Officer A and asked Officer A, deportation officer, for if you were present for a court appearance. Are you here in my docket? What are you doing here in this courtroom? For what? Do you have business here today? He said, no, I don't have any business in your courtroom. Judge Dugan stated, well, if you don't have business in my courtroom, then you need to leave the courthouse, this judge. Oh, you're not here as a witness or a matter here? Then what are you doing here? Then get out. Officer A stated, no, actually, we're not going anywhere. We're here to effectuate an arrest in your courtroom. So go back into your little bench and do your business. Judge Dugan asked the deportation officer, oh, yeah? Do you have a judicial warrant to arrest him? Deportation officer said, no, I have an administrative warrant. The Judge Dugan reported, and she said, well, your administrative warrant is not going to be good enough. You need a judicial warrant if you want to arrest somebody. I don't recognize your warrant. The deportation officer said, well, Judge, We are here. I am here in a public space right now, and I have a valid immigration warrant in my hands. So I will be making this arrest. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor. Judge Dugan says, let me see the warrant. I want to see it. And the deportation officer said, yeah, no problem. Let me get it. I'll show it to you right now. Then Dugan, the judge, still screeching, demanded that you speak with the chief judge. Well, you need to speak to my supervisor, my chief judge. Then Judge Dugan went over to FBI agent A, turned her, turned another one, did the same thing. FBI agent B, he's like just. Then she went over to CPB officer A, and he did the same thing. He's like, this judge is nuts. After finding out that none of them were present for a court appearance, do you have any matters here today? Are you a witness in any court proceedings today? No. We're all here with ICE. We're going to arrest your defendant. Judge Dugan said, well, this is unacceptable. You all are ordered to report to the chief judge's office. You cannot be here in this courtroom. And then she dragged them out over to them. So then Judge A then escorted members of the arrest team away from courtroom 615, down the hall, through a set of double doors towards the reception area for the chief judge's office, right? So two judges were standing there. Judge Dugan was the one screaming. Then DEA agent B, who was not recognized by Judge Dugan, because there was that one dude seated off to the side, and Judge A, as being part of the arrest team, he remained behind, right? So this other dude is like laughing. He's like, oh, they got busted. They're going down to the principal's office. But he's going to make the arrest solo. He's like, I'll just house myself. I'll get this dude. So the courtroom deputy then reported observing a portion of the above described events in the hallway, right? Shout out to this courtroom deputy and to the prosecutor, all these people reporting. It's like, yeah, this judge went nuts. According to the deputy, shortly after Judge Dugan was advised of ICE's presence, the courtroom deputy left the courtroom to look for an unrelated document, whom the courtroom deputy was seeking to arrest for an open warrant. The courtroom deputy saw Judge Dugan in her robe in the public hallway, telling one of the federal agents that he needed to go to talk to the chief judge. And this courtroom deputy, like, who knows, but he might like hate this lady. He's like, this lady's like crazy. She's miserable constantly. He's like, yeah, here's what happened. Let me tell you everything. Judge Dugan appeared visibly angry, was walking quickly, waddling. As soon as the agent entered the chief judge's vestibule area, the courtroom deputy saw Judge Dugan walk south down the hallway, and she entered a locked door near courtroom 615. Now, I'm familiar with the floor plan for the 6th floor, says the FBI agent, and I believe that Judge Dugan led to a non-public hallway from which she could access her courtroom and chambers. Yeah, and I've been back in and out of these things many times. Come on back to the chamber. Come on back. And it's interesting. It's all set up, and there's secret hallways inside and out. A lot of them are kind of crammed in there. They're like all remodeled with just cramming a bunch of offices back there. So they do. So then DEA agent B, who had remained in the hallway but had not yet been recognized as a member of the arrest team, was seated there. She thought, I led them all this way. Reported that Judge Dugan walked around the hallway and appeared to be looking for additional agents before she returned to her courtroom. Okay. She walks out. Is the coast clear? She comes out the secret hallway, looks around. Are there any other federal agents? She misses the one dude who had left behind. She thought she got them all out. Once inside the office of the chief judge, deportation officer A showed Judge A his credentials. Says, yep, I'm ICE. Yep, here's the warrant. Here it is. Judge A asked the chief judge's clerk, oh, can you make a copy of this? Let me see, is the chief judge available? This is kind of thing. Copy this. The clerk said, well, no, he's actually not in the building right now, but let me check. Actually, he's on the phone. Like, got him on the phone. He's not here. He's on the phone. At that point, Judge A left, and deportation officer A went inside more of a private area in the chief judge's office to speak with him on the phone. In these buildings, there's these little, conference closets kind of everywhere. So during their conversation, the chief judge stated He was working on a policy which would dictate locations within the courthouse where ICE could safely conduct this. He's like, well, here's our plan. Like, you're doing an arrest right now. Well, okay, we're literally like in the middle of a policy. We really don't know what to do. The judge emphasized that such action should not take place in courtrooms. Like, well, no, of course not. Or other private locations within the building. Like, no, we're going to in the hallway. That's fine. Officer asked about whether, well, how about the hallway? Like, we're just going to get him in the hallway. That's our plan. He said, well, Chief Judge, yeah, the hallways are public areas. And he said, well, the Chief Judge says, well, let me talk to the ICE ERO management about this policy. And we'll get this dialed in so we don't have to go through this every time, the judge says. So, all right, yeah, no problem. Deportation officer says, no problem. Yeah, I'll give you the contact info for ICE. And yeah, we'll be happy to work with you. Whatever you guys want to do, just tell us where to come get him. We'll come get him. Just ship him over here. We'll come get him. We don't care. So while Deportation Officer A was speaking with the Chief Judge on the phone, trying to facilitate and do their jobs, DEA Agent A and CBP Officer A and 2 FBI agents waited outside the vestibule area, right outside the judge's office. DEA agent, one of them, departed the area after a short while. Now, Judge Dugan's courtroom deputy, meanwhile, then approached the remaining arrest team members and stated the courtroom deputy was not the one who notified Judge Dugan about their plans. Wow. So the courtroom deputy walks up to the feds and says, listen, fellas, I didn't do it. And they were like, didn't do what? I didn't tell the judge about any of this. But the judge is doing something, so you guys should know. The courtroom deputy also made a comment. It says, this judge has been pushing this case through anyways. Okay. She's been like racing this through. So this deputy hates this judge. He's been the courtroom deputy for like, who knows how long. He's like, she's a mental case. She's crazy. She's going to try to do this. She's trying to push this case through, which the arrest team interpreted to mean that the Dugan judge was trying to expedite the hearing, right? So that you guys can't come get him. He's like, she's trying to push this through so ICE doesn't catch wind and you guys can't get him. Now, multiple witnesses have described their observations after Dugan returned to her courtroom, after directing members of the arrest team to the chief judge's office. So she walks them out, goes out of her courtroom, checks to make sure the coast is clear, comes back in. The courtroom deputy recalled that upon the courtroom deputy's return to the courtroom, so that guy's coming out, alerts them, comes back in. He says that the defense counsel, the lawyer for Flores, was talking to the clerk, and Flores was seated in the jury box rather than in the gallery. And the jury box is where the door is, okay? So the gallery is by the front door. And you've seen how courtrooms often are, kind of like big squares. And I don't think I have enough room to really draw anything useful here. But generally what you'll see is like if it's a square here, and you've got the courtroom that kind of looks like this. Let's say the front doors are right here. You'll often have kind of the bar, which is here, and there'll be a little door right here where the attorneys will walk through. But the gallery, most of the people are sitting in these benches here. Even the defendants, right, are here. You'll often have the defense table right here. You'll have a prosecution's table right here. The jury box will be right here. And the back door for the jurors to come in and out will be up here. You may often also have a judge's door right here, and the judge's bench will be like this. So the judge is sitting up here. So then what they did is all the agents are sitting like out front, right? This is the hallway. This page break is right where the hallway is. So they're coming in and out, and the defendant is originally seated in the galley. So we'll just put dude right here. And the judge, the court clerk, the court deputy is coming in and out of the courtroom. So they move him over into the jury box. Oh, so he can make a quick getaway. So as soon as the coast is clear, she'll just shove him out that door. She'll also join him, and they'll go back out the back hall, and the judges can just get the hell out of there. So then the court deputy believed that the lawyer and the clerk were having an off-the-record conversation to pick the next court date. So, okay, we're going to continue this, is what they were saying. What is the conversation? We're not going to do anything here. We're just going to postpone it, come back in 15 days, 30 days. ICE won't know, and more. Then what we see is that defense counsel and the defendant, so the lawyer and Flores, they then walk toward each other and toward the public courtroom exit, right? So probably out the front. Now, the courtroom deputy then saw Judge Dugan get up and heard Judge Dugan say something like this: "Wait, come with me." Now, despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and the lawyer out of the courtroom through the jury door. Okay, so they moved him into the jury box and then shoved him right out that door. Leads to non-public areas of the courthouse, and the agents are not going back there. They're not allowed, or wouldn't be allowed without permission. These events were also unusual for two reasons. First, the courtroom deputy had previously heard Judge Dugan direct people not to sit in the jury box. It's for the jury, or you'll put your in custodies in there. Second, according to the courtroom deputy, the guy who ratted the judge out, only deputies, juries, and court staff and in custody defendants being escorted by deputies use the jury door. Defense attorneys and defendants who were not in custody never use the door. You never do. Yeah, unless the judge is inviting you back for some reason. It's like special reasons, and sometimes it's not good. Attorney B similarly explained, this is the prosecutor, that after returning to the courtroom, Judge Dugan forcefully motioned the defense attorney for Flores and a male that she did not know, Attorney B had never met Flores, to approach. All right, you guys, please approach. Hey, come up here. The judge, come up here. The defense attorney appeared to be confused. Like, what? By the judge's gesture, but complied. The judge is like telling the defense, this is so wild. Judge Dugan commanded the attorney and the male to leave through the back door of the courtroom. The prosecutor then saw the judge escort the attorney and the male through a non-public door near the jury box. And thereafter, Dugan came back to the courtroom and conducted hearings, escaped them out, came back to the bench, finished the morning docket. Later that morning, the prosecutor realized that Flores's case had never been called. The prosecutor's like, wait, it's on the docket. What do we do with this case? Like, it's on the list. Attorney B, the prosecutor, learned the case had been adjourned. He goes, what? You didn't even ask for my position on that. You just moved. It was scheduled for this morning. You just adjourned it. You just continued it to what? This happened without the prosecutor's knowledge or participation. And that attorney was there on that date on behalf of the state. He was the prosecutor. The judge just continued it without even talking to counsel. Even though the victims were also present in the courtroom. Now, I don't practice there. I'm not licensed in Wisconsin, but I'm sure there are victims' rights laws and victims' bill of rights that would say that's a problem. So this judge, okay, was protecting an illegal alien who beat, allegedly, some people who were there in the courtroom seeking justice, and she got him out of the country. She got him out of the courtroom to avoid being captured by ICE. Didn't work out. It's so criminal, man, and it's unethical and monstrous behavior to do that when the victims are in the courtroom. Okay, a judge. The victims are in the courtroom. Now, a victim witness specialist who's employed there was also present. The victim witness specialist made contact with the victims in the case. They were sitting there. Now, they were unable to identify, the witness specialist was unable to identify Flores based upon their reactions to the presence in court. But the specialist observed the judge gesture towards Flores and an unknown Hispanic woman. So the specialist stated that she believed the Hispanic woman may have been an interpreter. However, based on the description of the women and the other statements, I believe the Hispanic woman was the attorney. And so the specialist, I guess, I can't believe, doesn't know who the specific victims were, but doesn't, right? Maybe there were multiple victims. Stated that Dugan then exited through the jury door with the Hispanic woman. So her statement is, yeah, he left with someone else, probably the lawyer. Now, the specialist was concerned because the case wasn't called yet and the victims were waiting. Now, unable to identify based upon the reactions to his presence in court. So I don't know if the victims don't really know who he is. Maybe this was, yeah, I don't know what kind of a battery this was, but interesting. So anyways, another attorney who was in courtroom 615, also to represent another client, also advised case agents that he observed Dugan and other attorneys. This is why this is so weird. It's like everybody knows what's happening in the courtroom. Everybody's watching the judge because we're all waiting for our cases to get called. We're all like, how much longer do we have to sit here until you call our case? Everybody's there. It's packed. Forcefully said, direct two individuals, a man and a woman. The judge says, get out of here. Attorney C indicated this was done with a stern tone. She's like, get out of here. So then Ruiz makes it out of the courthouse and runs after leaving the judge's vestibule and returning to the public hallway. So then he is out the back side door, runs out, has to return to the public hallway to leave the courthouse. DEA agent reported that Flores and his attorney were in the public hallway. So like they saw them, like, oh, damn, there they are. DEA agent B also observed Flores and his attorney in the hallway near courtroom 615 and noted that Flores was looking around the hallway. He's like, oh, crap. From different vantage points, both agents observed Flores and his counsel walk briskly toward the elevator bank on the south end of the 6th floor. Now, I'm familiar with the layout over there, the 6th floor, and I know the south elevators are not the closest elevators to 615. And so it appears that his attorneys elected not to use the closest elevator because that's where the agents would be. DEA agent followed. He's like, let's use these other elevators. No one uses these. DEA agent followed Flores Ruiz and his attorney towards the south elevator bank. This attorney must have had just adrenaline pumping through her. She's like, oh, it's so crazy. At approximately 8:50, DEA agent alerted other members of the arrest team that DEA agent was on the elevator with Flores Ruiz. While on the elevator, Flores and his attorney spoke to each other in Spanish. They're on the elevator with the agents. DEA agents at 8:50, Agent A says, hey, other members, I'm on the elevator with him. While on the elevator, they're talking to each other in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. They exited the elevator on one of the bottom floors of the courthouse and used the 9th Street public exit to leave the building. Now, having received the above reference information from Agent A, who was on the elevator, like, oh, we're coming down here to the 1st floor, other members of the arrest team scrambled to locate him. So then they raced to the floor. DEA Agent B and FBI agents A and B took another elevator down to one of the bottom floors of the courthouse, quickly exited the building on the 9th Street to see if they pop out. DEA Agent A notified the team that Flores Ruiz was in the front of the courthouse near the flagpole. Oh, up there by the flag. Agents ran towards the front of the courthouse. Agent B and A approached Flores, said, are you Flores? Identified themselves as law enforcement. Flores turned around and sprinted down the street. He's like, ah! A foot chase ensued. The agents pursued Flores for the entire length of the courthouse, ultimately apprehended him on the intersection of State Street and 10th. Not that fast there, amigo. Flores Ruiz was handcuffed and detained at 9:05 a.m. or 22 minutes after the arrest team first spotted him at the courthouse. FBI agent team communicated to the surveillance team that Flores Ruiz had been arrested. Deportation Officer A and others were notified that he was in custody while they were still inside the courthouse speaking to the chief judge on the phone. What a scandal, man. So they're still getting duped. The chief judge is like, keep him on the line as long as possible. Let's let this dude get out of here. Defense attorney helping to facilitate that. That defense attorney's in some prickly water as well. I don't know if you can say that she knew about the warrant, or maybe she was just, I'm just trying to get him to his next appointment. But she's running him out of there. Man, this is a bunch of bad actors. So conclusion, based on the information above, I believe I've got probable cause to charge Judge Dugan with violating the law, and absolutely 100%. I've been in many courtrooms for a lot of time, and I can visualize how it happened exactly just like that. And She did it. She knows what she did. She did it intentionally. She tried to come up with some legal justification. She intentionally tried to manipulate them, get them out of the way so she could free the dude. And it's a pretty sick thing to do when you think about it. She had victims sitting in the courtroom, and she had an illegal alien who was wanted by the federal government. We're in the same country, lady, and tries to obstruct the investigation. She's hit with 2 felonies: concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest, and obstructing an agency in the United States. So good stuff there. We also see this was filed, and she was arraigned today. She had her initial appearance, and here's what happened. So today, coming out of the courtroom, Eastern District of Wisconsin, you see they gave us this update saying, all right, here are her release conditions, telling us not violate law, must cooperate with DNA samples, must advise pretrial services before changing your phone number or your residence, must appear in court as required, and must sign an appearance bond. And what she has gotten, looks like, yeah, here we go. Acknowledgement of the defendant. You're advised of the following. So make sure you understand this. A federal judge, a district judge signing this off in a federal prosecution. That's the district it looks like that they cover, or that's the part of Wisconsin that the Eastern District covers. And that is what else we've got here. Now, we also saw they rescheduled this for her preliminary hearing and her arraignment and her entry of a plea of not guilty, no doubt, on May 15th, 9 a.m. She was advised of her rights today, did not need an interpreter. Looks like she's got an attorney, Craig Mastignano. We've got very short hearing, was 4 minutes, took place today, 10:30 this morning, out of the Eastern District of Wisconsin. Maximum penalties for this puppy: 1 year imprisonment on count 1, 5 years imprisonment on count 2. The government says, oh, they're going to indict her, booty. So they're going to present this to a grand jury at a later date, and she'll come back and be indicted. So right now it's just a criminal complaint, the one that we read, but they'll come through, they'll formally indict her. And right now, not seeking detention at the moment. So the defense protests the arrest, does not object to the release. She was released on her own recognizance. And we just read the order setting release conditions, which were basically standard. So Democrats were out there today after she got arrested. They were saying, we want, look at these people. Oh my goodness. So they were out there, no justice, no peace, all sorts of stuff. A handful of them. Here, let's listen to a little bit. Peace. Okay, sorry, it's only on the one side. All right, you get the picture. Judge arrest equals Trump is guilty. They brought this guy out too. Oh man, lots of seed oils out there. All right, so they were outside the courthouse, very upset about it. We saw several news reports that were shocked when it was all breaking. But the big, I think, conversation was clipped over via our friend Charlie Kirk. Shout out to Charlie Kirk out there, who captured the entire conversation of Pam Bondi, who was talking about this today. She drops about 8 minutes of this, explaining what this case is about. So let's listen to what Pam Bondi had to say about this latest arrest of a corrupt judge trying to help illegal aliens flee the courtroom when they're wanted by federal officials who have a valid warrant, and there are victims sitting in the courtroom demanding justice. Pathetic. Here's Pam.
So rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow.
You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for coming back on America Report. So we remember these words of Tom Homan, the border czar. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
we are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
In fact, she just had an initial appearance in court. There's also this other case coming out of New Mexico. Judge Joel Cano and his wife were arrested for harboring a TDA member at their home. The alleged TDA member had been picked up by law enforcement, and now he and his wife were picked up and arrested. And you say that you believe, as the Attorney General, that the person that they were having living at their home was a truly potentially bad individual.
Yeah, that's the judge up on the screen now who got arrested. Yeah, his name is Ortega. He was is a known TDA member, So he comes through Eagle Pass December 2023. He's living in our country. January 2025, ICE, they get a tip. Tom Homan's done a great job. Our FBI did a great job on this case too. They get a tip that he is living with a judge and the judge's wife. So they have him arrested first on immigration charges. A Judge Damian Martinez releases him saying that Judge Cano has a good BS meter and wouldn't let just anyone live on his property.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the associations with this violent Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and this person that they harbored in their home, he was showing signs through clothing, we were told, tattoos. There was evidence through voice messages and text messages of his association to TDA. So what charges will Cano and his wife face, if any?
So Judge Cano, soon to be former Judge Cano, got his charges were just unsealed. He's charged with obstruction. He admitted post Miranda. He took one of the TDA members' cell phones himself, took it, beat it with a hammer, destroyed it, and then walked the pieces to a city dumpster to dispose of it to protect him. The wife also is charged with destroying evidence. Sandra, not only that, this TDA member, and he had on a necklace that said kill, something about death. He had tattoos all over him. He also had on his cell phone pictures of two decapitated victims, decapitated, gruesome photos. And he was sending them out, and whoever he was sending them to was sending back saying, hey, you need to be careful. You shouldn't be sending these. You shouldn't be texting these photos out. Not only that, these two, the judge and his wife, gave him assault rifles that belonged to their daughter. That's what they're charged with. In the criminal report affidavit, he goes to a shooting range with these assault rifles, with a suppressor, with other known TDA members, and they're shooting. This is the last person that we want in our country, nor will we ever tolerate a judge or anyone else harboring them.
Let me, if I could, Madam Attorney General, come back to the Wisconsin case and Judge Hannah Dugan, because in allegedly letting the perpetrator and the attorney out through a non-public exit and allowed them to get out in front of the building. We had a situation where we've seen that I know Tom Homan was complaining about in Colorado, where there would be no transfer of a defendant from a jail to ICE custody on a detainer request in a way that was orderly and protected public safety. They would dump them off in a parking lot, and then ICE would have to chase them around with the DEA or whatever, or FBI, and pick them up. This ended up in a foot chase in public sight. It says here, a foot chase ensued. The agents, and this was a DEA agent and an FBI agent, pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse, ultimately apprehended him near the intersection of West State Street and 10th Street. So the judge apparently has created a situation here where you have a public foot chase. And we all know that, while sometimes they can come off without incident, they can also turn into very dangerous situations.
John, that's exactly right. She put the lives of our law enforcement officers at risk. She put the lives of citizens at risk. A street chase, which is absurd that had to happen. But yes, she put a lot of people in danger. That judge did it. So did the other judge, Judge Cano, is charged with. They were allegedly giving him assault rifles, AK-47s, AR-15s with a suppressor, a known TDA member, letting him go to a shooting range to refine and perfect his shooting skills.
Madam
What's
Attorney,
happened to our judiciary is beyond me.
Yeah, so
It's true. Our judges are a little problematic these days. These two judges now charged with crimes, and we're hopeful that other judges don't break the law. We expect and demand more of them. But for some reason, many of them have been acting like they're above the law, like they can do whatever they want. They don't have to follow federal law. And obviously, that's not the case anymore. So hopefully this is a message to many of the other judges out there who are certainly engaging in similar behavior, thinking that they are above the law, a reminder that they're not. No one is above the law. We got lectured about that from them, even though they perverted the justice system. Now we have an actual enforcement of the justice system. Don't take illegals out of your courtroom and obstruct federal agents, and you won't be prosecuted. Now, the left will screech about this for days to come, but the facts are there. Thanks for sharing the video so other people can see what this judge actually did. We'll keep our eye on this case. Thanks for subscribing and joining as we do. All right, my friends. It has been one heck of a stream and a beautiful Friday. We made it through another busy week, and it's a good way to end the week with some corrupt judges being prosecuted for crimes. If you're just joining us, quick recap on what we talked about. We did a full debrief on the Judge Cano situation because there are really two cases wrapped up in one. All started out with this Ortega dude who was living over there with them. So we went through his case, went through the criminal complaint brought against him, and how this whole thing kind of really escalated when they were sending information into the prosecution and to the court about why this guy should be mitigated, why he should be shown some leniency, and essentially fingered the judge. Said, look, we got dinner photos with him. We go to Christmas parties with him. We installed his windows and more. And so give him a break. Turns out the judge was breaking evidence with a hammer and then going through Mirandized interviews and admitting everything. Very, very strange there. We'll see if there's more that the feds uncover. But went through that, had some good reaction from the people who were commenting on that case before we change gears and talked about Dugan, this judge who was facilitating illegal aliens outside of her courtroom so that they would avoid being captured and removed from the country by ICE. In the meantime, she let victims of an illegal alien sit in her courtroom, adjourned the case without even talking to the prosecution who was there to represent the government, and in doing so, broke the law. And so we'll keep our eye on both of these cases. We do not want criminal judges out there. It's a good reminder they are not above the law. And now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. And let's see what you say about all of this. Thank you so much for sending in these donos and the support. And thanks, new membos, for becoming membos. And thanks to everybody who gifted membos. We're going to do an amazing members only stream tomorrow morning. On Saturday, we go live on Saturday, 12 noon Eastern, on Locals and on YouTube for our members. We'd love to have you come join us. Thanks for joining and checking it out. We got a bunch of donos today, my friends. You guys are amazing. All right, let's see who's here. And thanks for clipping these for us. Starting here. What's going on? Finally, it's Friday. Yippee, says that dog. What's up? That's a very cute pup there. Hey, what's up? Bruce Birch is in the house. Bruce, thanks for becoming a member. We'll see you tomorrow morning. And grab the stream from this morning. We had some good segments this morning. Hey, what's up? Sandy says the CFBP case has a showdown happening. It was appealed in D.C. and ripe for a decision which divested Amy Berman Jackson of jurisdiction. Let me finish. ABJ ignored that and kept the case moving. Hearing with testimonies on Monday, unless the Court of Appeals stays, Amy Berman Jackson violated the court mandate, one Obama and two Trump judges. Yeah, maybe we'll hit that on Monday, Sandy, then. Yeah, Amy Berman Jackson, she's terrible. What's up? Sportfish is here. Said, hey, what's up, Sportfish on Rumble? Says, Letitia James hired Abby Lowell, but he was reportedly hired by the Office of the New York State Attorney General. How is that legal? Well, I don't know in what capacity she hired him to defend against. Did she hire him in an official capacity? Or was it in a personal capacity? Or maybe both capacities? We'd have to identify what the conflict is. Like, is there a conflict there? I'm not sure. But yeah, I did see she hired him. Hey, Elena is here. What's going on, Elena, aka Neely? What's up, Neely? Thank you for bringing in 5 new friends for us. We got Packden. What's up, Packden? Stephen T. What's up? Victor Carter's here. Rockman in the house. And John Smith gifted members courtesy of Elena, aka Neely. Thank you, Neely, for doing that. Hey, Greer is here. Greer's bringing in. Harold Greer is bringing in 5 new friends. What's up? Welcome, Kobe Packmayer. Dustin the Wind. Faith is here. Nurse Cindy and Denton Dixon gifted members courtesy of Harold Greer. Thanks, Harold, for doing that. Welcome, new friends. Alex Saxo. What's up, Alec? We'll see you tomorrow on the Membo stream. Thanks for joining up. Economath says, why does ICE get to ignore common law privilege for arrest? Centuries of case law, but English and American saying one is not to be grabbed when attending court of record or traveling to and fro. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've seen that argument being made. So you're saying you shouldn't be arrested in the courtroom halls? Is that what you're saying? Like you should have like a safe space in certain, like almost like congressional legislative immunity kind of a thing? I guess I think people, they would just wait outside the court perimeter then. It's like, so where do you, what's the limiting principle on that? I guess would be the response. But it's interesting thought argument there, Economath. Wojo says, rumor has it all illegal immigrants order their drinks at the bar with no ice. It is often hard to get ice in Latin American countries. You know, it's not as common for whatever reason. Hey, Mikhail Heim. Robert, do these judges fall under an Article 2 or military prosecution because they are aiding and abetting in contravention to our national security? I find this stuff interesting to witness and learn about. I mean, like, yeah, if you start going down that route, then you're kind of having the military take over and you start asking about like martial law kind of a situation. Are you going to, like, the military will take over the prosecutions and usurp Article 3? So like what's happening right now is they're being charged under Article 3. And other judges are going to validate the charges. They'll get their defense attorneys. Article 3 will determine whether these are valid or not. The problem when you have the military come in is then you have the executive branch become the judge, jury, and the executioner. So right now, Trump prosecutes from Article 2. They are, private citizens who will then be the cases will be heard in Article 3 courts. But if it's an Article 2 court or the military's handling everything, then it kind of comes back into all one branch. So generally not what you want, right? That's why we have separation of powers on that, generally speaking. But then you have a situation like the Civil War where Abraham Lincoln comes in, suspends habeas corpus, and kind of takes control over certain enterprises. I think judges issued rulings and he just kind of ignored them. So there's argument that in some instances you might need to do that in order to save the country, would be, I think, what Lincoln advocates would say he did that for. Steel Manning, what's up? Why was the judge a regular at local pupusa factories? He needed the anonymous tips. Steel Manning. All right. Thank you for that. A bad poet. A list of cases Tish works might be criminal. She did go after Brazilian ranchers from the wrong side of the coup. What else for the cause? WEF. A list of cases Tish works might be criminal. She's basically a criminal. She's going to get that, I think, repercussion soon. Hey, Kendall Links. Rob, I noticed YouTube pops out for a moment to a black screen or completely exits with commercial. It appears to be ads, not your problem. Question maybe. So that is, yeah, it's strange. So we had some problems this morning with the stream. I'm not seeing any indications of a stream lag. When I get like internet problems, it flashes at me, shows me a little symbol. Your internet's crap. I've not seen that. And we were trying to diagnose if it was the local platform, were the problems on locals and on YouTube and on Rumble, meaning it's on my end, or were they platform specific? So anyways, thanks for the feedback, Kendall Links. We'll work on it. Rob, what's up? Was he training TDA to be able to do bad things? I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but they definitely love that dude. Mikkel. Hey, what's up, Mikkel Heim? Thank you for the nice dono, Mikkel. Says, hey, arrest more. Okay, here's the proof that our Constitution was written for American citizens, not immigrants. We, the people of the United States, to ensure domestic tranquility, common defense, general welfare, secure liberty to ourselves. I think what they meant by American citizens was everybody else in the world who wants anything they want, anytime they want, no matter what it costs or does to our country. That's how they define it. You can look it up. It's in the dictionary. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I think a lot of the problems in our country are just a divestment away from the values and the principles of the Constitution. We've just deviated away from it and has turned into a bloated corporatocracy in many ways, which is disgusting. Thank you, Mikhail. What's up, Doan? I believe the Giselle automatic has a government contract with Homeland. Long guns start around $3K, not cheap. That rifle might track the Border Patrol, maybe. Yeah, that's an interesting comment. Yeah, that's not a cheap gun. If that's, yeah, I don't know what they were shooting exactly, but they had a lot of ammo and a lot of firearms. And what was that all for? And why was the judge facilitating it? Call me legend. Says, not only do we have sanctuary cities and states now, we have sanctuary courtrooms. I like that. Yeah. Sanctuary judges who actually let them live in their houses. You know, this actually undermines a lot of what we've said here. I was like, oh yeah, Judge Boasberg wants gangbangers in America. Why doesn't he just invite them over to his house? And like, I felt all good with myself. I'm like, yeah. This judge invited him to his house. He's like, they're in my casita. They do my windows and my yard work for me. Oh, maybe they want him. We don't. But they do, I guess. So like, what can you say? Hey, Doan, Cano probably dropped dirtier than Tony Montana. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what was on that phone, but he was smashing that hammer, wasn't he? Real quick. Reminds me of Hillary Clinton. Hey, what's going on? Sheila Poo says, that answers that. If you arrest and deport him, who's going to fix and clean my house? I know. She's like, no, this dude, like, he works for basically free. So like the Canos were getting everybody in. No, like all the family, like he washes my cars, he picks up my kids, he grabs my laundry, he does the dishes, the whole family, all extended family. Like, we got to save this dude. Otherwise, what are we going to do? Text Rick, Rob, stop reading these letters about Ortega. I'm feeling inadequate. I know there's a lot of them, right? A lot of people get them. Well, you should break into the country illegally. Join Trende or Ragwa, and you'll get a judge to invite you over to Christmas dinner too. Text Rick. Rub some dirt on it. Says, I feel the punchline coming. Ortega flips on the judge and gives him up for a sentence deal. That's kind of where it's going, right? Like, they're really exploiting that relationship big time. Good to see you, Whirlpool. What's up, Heavy Johnny? Says, Ortega, F those doors up. I guess you get what you pay for, LOL. Heavy Johnny. I noticed that too. Like, hello, you got to put them a little lower to the ground. You don't want that giant gap in there, or you got to fill in that gap with some sort of, filler, or even they have the foam things or whatever. But you want a nice tight connection there. Hey, Sai is here. Actually, it's Sev Russ. What's up, Sev Russ? Great to see you, Sev. Thanks for bringing in 5 new members, my man. What's up? Skip Malone is coming in. Frank Hernandez is here. Lori Mall. What's up, Baby Cakes 420? Baby Cakes, join us. Empowered is here, all courtesy of Sev Russ. Thanks for doing that, Sev. Sheila the Pooh, a million hugs to you. Bringing in 10 new members. Thank you, Sheila. Welcome aboard. Karen Andrews, Ronnie Dowdy. What's up, Craig Erickson? Michael Green, New Spin is here. Go for Big Guy 911. Sharon Burns. Choosy Heretics, Choose Carnation, Revolution Now joined up. Jeffrey Bradley and Colby Newlick, all gifted members, courtesy of Sheila Pooh. A million hugs to you. Thank you, Sheila. Welcome, new friends. Hey, Jean Lee is here. That's Cyclops, who had a real complicated relationship with Jean Grey. But this is Jean Lay. What's up, Jean? Hey, bringing in 5 new members. Man, we're going to meet some new people tomorrow. Jay Michelle is here. Cheryl Sorrell 1776 Morton, welcome. Rob M. What's up, Valerie Orr? Siyanki Nijal Sisanki is here. Welcome aboard to Siyanki. And Jean Lay, thank you for bringing in 5 new members. We're grateful to you. Mary M, what's up? Says, I can't wait to see the pictures on his phone, though I heard they were actually really ghoulish. People without their heads and stuff, yeah, of course, are deceased. If you don't have a head, yeah. All kinds of gross, bloody stuff. I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be not good because they're brutal and violent. And the judge has a good BS meter, though, so he was able to see right through that. Yeah, we have a great comment coming up from number 1 deplorable. Yeah, what's up? So I'd like to see if they can recover any. Oh, no, they're not. So he said he threw the phone like in the trash. It's not only smashed, it's in the trash. So they're not finding that. But maybe they can recover what was on it. Maybe it's in the cloud. Maybe they can access another phone and access that account. We'll see what's in there. Should be great. But he must be freaked if he's smashing it with a hammer. Like, don't tell me he's smashing it with a hammer. He's probably sweating his head off, trying to access the phone, can't reach the dude. It's like a movie scene. Amazing. Barb K, what's up, Barb? Welcome aboard. Thanks for signing up. We'll see you tomorrow on the members only stream, Barb. What's up, old lady? Old lady says, need healing prayers for my son. Old lady, we're going to send them your way. You can already see they're coming your way. Check it out, man. We got the best chat. Thank you guys for doing this. Sheila Pooh sending love. Jennifer sending love. Doan, prayers up. Queen Bees, praying for you. Jennifer O'Connell, what's up? Nancy, Sandy, Owen, Sans Owen, Mark Nielsen, Mikhail, asking for specifics and more. Lots of prayers. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sending them, old lady. I hope you feel them. I hope your boy feels them. And he heals up quickly. Thank you, old lady, for being here. Prayers out. Combat Boot Mom says, in the 60s, my dad's best friend was a second dad to me, a big guy that my family called a gentle giant. He'd sneak money to me, a hard worker, jokester, and people loved him. He was a hitman for the mob. Sweet eliminator. Yeah, that's a great comment. Combat Boot Mom. Was he? He was saying anything? Yeah, it's interesting, right? How people can do that. It is interesting. And I've often wondered about that with a lot of people, right? People have you have two different lives. You see that a lot with, I think, people in the public space, right? They're like, well, I had no idea he was like that at all. You know, that's an interesting. I bet he had a lot of wisdom and wild stories. Combat Boot Mom, thanks for that. Mobs. Hey, Alan Pemberton, what's up, Alan? Thanks for signing up, becoming a member. We'll see you tomorrow on the members only stream. Tobo says, one thing a judge would insist that a permanent guest would be following: all the laws. I smell a corrupt judge. Hey, Doan says, Rob, say it. Complicity to eliminate after the phonocide? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, or something else. You know, that's like a pretty heinous crime. I don't like, it might be something just like personally embarrassing. I don't know if it's like gang related or if it's just personally embarrassing. Why did he have multiple phones? Like, was one phone for something? Like, was one phone with all the pupusa recipes on it? So he smashed that one. I don't know. Pinochet's helicopter tour said, Rob, the Wisconsin judge, okay, please tell me how what she did is not a blatant violation of 1512C2. Schadenfreude, just charge all these rogue judges with that, and they can get solitary confinement until trial. Yeah, and this was the same, the 1512C charges were the same ones we saw against the J6ers, and many of those were thrown out after the Supreme Court said that the Justice Department abused their position and overcharged Americans, violating their due process with fake criminal charges. But yeah, if you're impeding official proceedings, and I don't think that's what they ultimately charged her with. Was it that? No. Yeah, obstructing or concealing for Dugan. Yeah, I'm sure they could hit her with many more. What's up, Sandy? Hey, about the lawyers saving the last gruesome for the last. Old saying in marketing: last thing read is the first thing said, meaning you design for the last thing to be the most important so that it is recited from memory first. Yeah, and they talk about this in the law as the comment called, or a concept called primacy and recency. It's like, what's going to be the most, the most urgent, or like the most immediate and the most recent. Like, there's a recency phenomenon. So you want to leave them with recency because it sticks. Voice of the People says, Hit that like button and share, comment after the stream ends, and get this info out there. So check out the Off-Label Podcast too, Voice of the People, streaming away like mad over there. I think coming to 5 days a week next week, Voice. Amazing. See you out there. Sheila Pooh says, the judge is a genius, LOL. Talks when he should shut up and admits to destroying evidence. Or he thinks he'll walk because his state is so liberal. Now, that could be true too. But he admitted to that obstruction, like aggressively. Why'd he do that? This old guy says, ex-Judge Cano is clearly a Democrat. He utilized the Hillary Clinton method of cell phone destruction. There you go. Nailed it. Why did you use, which she did, the State Department did that right after Benghazi. And then she got harassed about that. And like, why'd you bleach it? She's like, what do you mean like bleach it? Like, why'd you wipe your hard drive? Like with a cloth? No, Hillary, with deletion software and hammers. Jesser Bob said, Rob, would it be possible for your team to create a digital business card? Perhaps a QR code would be enough. This way we would easily share your show more easily. Every time I talk about the Watchers, I have to look up how to spell your last name. That's great. It's true. No one knows it. I know it's really complicated. Yeah, so definitely we can create a QR code, or I think I own watchingthewatchers.tv. Pretty sure I own that. Don't know where it goes at the moment. But we could create a nice web address or something. I know. Thanks for sharing the show, Jesser Bob. Answer is yes. We can definitely do that and figure that out. Thanks for sharing it. It really means a lot. We don't get a lot of algorithmic love here on the tube, so your shares mean a lot. Tyler, I regularly arrive about an hour late. The tubes have been cutting the first portion of the stream the last few days. Is it a StreamYard issue? That's what I'm trying to diagnose. Or is it my computer? Like, it doesn't feel laggy or anything. Anyways, we'll reboot, refresh, reconnect all the tubes, and we'll see how things go tomorrow. Thank you, Tyler. You're being a membo for being a membo too. Mikael says, sounds like Ortega had something embarrassing or a crime to hold over the judge's head. Maybe that's how he got into the casita with his friends and the weapons. Yeah, I don't know how that whole relationship happened. It sounds like the wife was really into the dude and facilitating a lot of things. Are they just good people who just wanted to help and they just got taken advantage of? Then why'd he smash a phone? Mikael, do you think the DOJ will investigate the judge's daughter for straw purchases? That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. They all came out to swing for this dude. And does she still have possession of all those guns? Like, if she still has possession of all of them, like if all the guns in his social media have been identified, then maybe not. But if there's other stuff that has not been identified, they might say, did you buy that? And if do you still have it, then where'd it go? Did you sell it to somebody? Do you have a bill of sale for that? What happened? Yeah, good question, Mikael. Pinochet. ICE removals are federal proceedings. These judges are certainly obstructing official proceedings. They are flight risks, so they should be held indefinitely in solitary confinement at Fort Leavenworth. A very beautiful place to go. Yeah. Well, their power, they got a lot of resources, and maybe that's right. Maybe they should have their passports seized. Hey, Chubby, I hope the DOJ used the judge resigning against him for bail and release. No job to keep him from fleeing now. Yeah, they didn't let him out. They did not let that guy out. He's still in custody. The other judge got out, though. Good to see you, Chubby. Hey, it's Heim time. What's up, Mikael? 5 new membos coming in. Thank you, Mikael. We got Nigel Word, welcome. Drew Phillips, TC in the house, Dan Edo. What's up, Christina B? All gifted membos, courtesy of Mikael. Thank you, Mikael. Hey, Rub Some Dirt on is here, says, even though they're keeping the judge, he's a keep away. Too many people would take the extra charge to go after a judge. Yeah, God forbid. We definitely don't want that to happen. But you're right. Like, if this judge is responsible for maybe sending people, but although he's in federal custody, he might have some bad blood out there from being a lifetime of a judge. Doan says it's possible Cano's no safer inside than out. Yeah, that's another point. And what if he spills? Like, what if there's something going on there? And he's like, all right, I'll talk. You got me with this obstruction charge. I'll spill my guts. Here's what's going on. Here's what I know, to get himself out, just like the underling did. Abel Baker, what's up? Says a reverse warrant will show the phone ID. they can then clone the phone and access the cloud. Yeah, that's something like that, right? So just because the phone is destroyed doesn't mean the data is destroyed. And yeah, scrotes my goats. Yeah. Scan the phone. The judge destroyed the phone because there were pics of his wife doing things with other men on it. She did have a fondness for him, that's for sure. Pinochet, no plea deals for the judges. They must get hard prison time, turning big rocks into little rocks. When they are done with it, they can turn the little rocks into even smaller ones. Justice must be done. No one is above the law. No one. Hey, what's up? Arnold Newton, 14 months as a member. Thank you for this. Says, yeah, phone pic data should be able to be gotten from the cloud, right? Especially like if it's an iMessage or one of those. I'm sure there's a lot on there. Arnold, thanks for being a member for 14 months. One old guy says, obstruction to allow an illegal alien to evade agents. The Milwaukee judge is harboring and a New Mexico judge. Homeland told everyone several times to wait and see what happens to officials. And if they're going to break the law, they're going to get prosecuted. No one's above the law. Hey, Mikhail Heim, it's Heim time. Says, Rob is 5,000 short of 500,000 YouTube subs. We're so close. Thank you, Mikhail, for mentioning that. If you're out there and you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we'd really appreciate it. We're almost there. It's a big one. We're excited about it. Thank you, Mikhail, for saying it. Will Crump, judges have stripped POTUS of his Article 2 powers. Yeah, multiple times. They think they're the president now and that they are running things. Thank you, Will. MAGA Hat stays. I saw some of this. MAGA Hat says, Judge Dugan was a former director of Catholic Charities, an agency known for trafficking illegals. Follow up on that one for sure. We'll see if that's maybe why she wanted to facilitate the invasion or the obstruction, rather, of the feds. It's Heim time. What's up, Mikhail? Bringing in 10 membos. Thanks for doing this. We got 10 more coming in. Alexandria Redmond. What's up, Daniel Klatt? Bruce the Superior. We got Rob Price. Kifty's here. Angela Mayo. Jackie Moorbacher. What's up, Stegosaurus? Ben Gilliam. Captain Chromo. All gifted membos. Great to see you. Thank you for bringing them in here, Mikhail. It's Heim time. Good to have you. What's up, Ike's Girl? Rob, please explain how district judges can do federal cases. So they're federal district court judges. So we've got, two systems essentially, federal system and the state system, and then all the bankruptcy courts and more. But generally speaking, like federal cases and state cases, and the district judges are federal district judges. You'll also at the state level see like district court judges, because everybody calls them different. Call them, in Arizona, we've got justice courts, we've got superior courts, we've got appellate courts, you might have county courts, you might have city courts. Most of those are just state level courts. Then when you get to the feds, you got federal district, federal appellate, and then the Supreme. So think of the federal district court judges as like the low level judges in your state system. So they are federal judges. And even the magistrate judges, right? They can hear federal cases at that federal level, which is what we just saw, like with Bruce Reinhart in the Trump case, and like the judge in the Dugan case. What's up, Will Crump? SCOTUS is letting a judicial coup replace POTUS 47. We are waiting for SCOTUS to get a handle on the reins here. Don't. Last I heard, doxing ICE is instant time in jail. Is that right? Is anyone... Well, I guess we're going to see if they're prosecuting that. We'll see who that attorney was snapping those photos. SD Gold Star says, you make court dockets so much fun. LMAO here. Yeah, well, we can take no credit for anything being funny today. These judges are just nuts. Sheila Poo says, is Judge Dugan's first name Karen? LOL. I think it's, no, that might have been the daughter or somebody else. Who was that in one of those notes? But no, it's not him, but it's funny. Might be. What's up? Barb loves Alaska. Oh my. Just read on X that Judge Dugan was previously a director of Catholic Charities and an organization that got a lot of money and a lot of government money for funding its work for illegal undocumented immigrants, USAID and NGO money, which is why she's got a love for illegals. Hey, Alan Harkin. What's up, Alan? Thank you, Alan, for the very nice dono and supporting us on Rumble. Rob, it warms my heart to see crooked judges getting their dues. Me too, Alan. It's a real nice way to end the week. Rob, you're a fine example of what it means to think critically and confront truth regardless of where or how that truth falls. Bravo. Man, Alan, thank you for saying that. We do work here in service of truth. We try to get it right. We'd like to be on the side of the truth and the light. And Alan, we appreciate you being here and joining us on that journey. And thanks for the support, my man. Happy Friday to you. Have a great weekend. What's up, one old guy? That Dugan is cooked. Says Dugan is immoral, broken at the spiritual level. Demonic influence. Might be true. I don't know. Sharpie guy, what's up? Says corruption knows no bounds, Rob. What do you think will happen to the judge here? I don't know. And she'll probably take a plea. I don't know what she's going to do. So the first judge, is pretty cooked. Judge Cano, he'll probably plead guilty. I would imagine he goes in and pleads guilty and just eats it. He's retired. He's done. This other judge, if she were smart, I think she'd fight it, man. She'd just stay in office. She'd fight it. I'm a victim here. He had a right to leave this way. I never said anything. Fight it. And I don't know. They probably elevate her career. Maybe she'll be like a political lightning rod in Wisconsin, which is a very important state. So if she fights it, I don't know. Is she in a favorable jurisdiction? Are they will this turn into a political case that she could win? I don't know. I don't know what the jury makeup looks like there, but depends on what she wants to do. If she were smart, she'd probably just take a plea. Voice says, I demand she be charged under treason. We'll see if Pam gets around to it. One old guy, Dugan will get charged with federal and state laws. She's cooked. Sure, there are many laws regarding abuse of office and many others. SD Gold Star Mom says, my face hurts from laughing regarding Dugan. It is pretty wild. Thank you for that, SD Gold Star Mom. It was a fun one. Hey, Chubby, I really hope they throw the book at the deranged Wisconsin judge. She swore an oath and blatantly broke it. She needs to be removed from the bench and given the maximum sentence. Unfreaking believable for her to do this. Use her to send a message to all the rest. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if she's going to resign or not. What if she just stands there and becomes like a lightning rod for the Democratic Party? Which I think would be the smarter political play for them. They're already defending gangbangers in El Salvador. Why are they not going to defend this judge in Wisconsin? One old guy, Dugan is getting due process that Zenas and Boasberg also got. Sandy, the DEA agent in the elevator was the same one sitting apart, not known. Attorney A that took the pictures was a female, and so was the Spanish-speaking lawyer. So I bet his lawyer was the picture taker. It reads like a silent movie of Keystone Cop from Judge & Co. That was a fun read, man. That was fun to read through. It's wild, following around. It's like a movie, turn into a movie. One old guy says, Trende Aragua Sancho for judge's wife. He was giving her chorizo? The chorizo? Judge and wife. I don't know. I don't know what kind of movies they were making. Who knows? Hey, Mikkel, Time says the judges interfering with the administration's national security policy need to be investigated and be charged with conspiracy for crimes they allowed to be committed. Well, that is a great question. Where, this is what we talked about yesterday, I think. It's where does the line come in? Where does it become obstruction and illegal? And when do they have plausible deniability and judicial qualified immunity? We'll see if this judge invokes immunity. She was in a courtroom doing some type of court business. Will she invoke it? I don't know. One old guy, what's up? Democrat judges are Democratic demoniacs. What's up, Jesser Bob? How does Pam Bondi have so much time to be on all these shows and attend so many conferences? She's just incredible, isn't she? Adesia, very fun show. It was a fun show. It was a fun read. Hey, thank you for saying that, Adesia. Sheila Poo, Rob, today felt like watching a TV show. LOL. This storyline would have been dropped for being too far-fetched. It was crazy. It was fun. That second read was especially fun. Judges scheming and squirming and everyone's on the phone. Ridiculous. Harold Greer, what's up, Harold? Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member, joining up. We'll see you on the members-only stream tomorrow. Oh, man. Deluxe Knight, our farmer in the house, says, I love sharing prayers for everyone in our Watcher family, but I could use some myself today. I blew a disc in my lower back in my late 20s. I haven't been smiling like my normal this past week. Hoping that my appointment tomorrow morning will help fix my mobility issues. I really don't want to be in a wheelchair before I reach 50 or ever. Normally, my pain level is 1 out of 10. It has been 10 all week. I can barely get out of bed and walk. Love you all here, and God bless. Man, Farmer Deluxe Night, I'm really sorry to hear that. I know a little bit about back pain, and I'm really sorry to hear that. So that sounds terrible and awful. We're going to send some love and healing, energetic prayers your way. I'm glad to hear you're going to be meeting with someone tomorrow who hopefully will have some good guidance for you, and you'll be back on your feet in no time. Lots of love coming your way. Thanks for sharing that with us. We'll be thinking about you. Hopefully we see you back tomorrow too. One old guy. That common law would only cover nationals of the USA. He was not born here, making him not a national of Wisconsin or the USA, I reckon. Rob says, Dick Durbin resigned 2 days ago. Was he involved in confirming a judge that was arrested, or does he just see the writing on the wall? Jason Pizzo also resigns as Democrat leader, declares the Democratic Party in Florida is dead. Yeah, I don't know what Dick's doing, but that certainly makes that seat a lot more winnable, so that's good. What's up, Nick Bierman? Nick Bierman bringing in Ryan Fish Adventures. Thanks, Nick, for doing that, and welcome, Ryan. Jesser Bob, what if we find out the victim and his wife are victims, or the judge and his wife are the victims in all of this? Like the gangbangers have them under their control? Oh, wait, they're adults. They should know better. They could have reached out to law enforcement for help. After all, we are the watchers, and we are many. From Jesser Bob. Love it, Jesser. Thank you. More here. Bringing in 5 more here. We got Nathan Ryan. What's up, Torben Christensen? One Leader Peter is here. Natalia Trumpo, welcome. One Crazy Redhead, gifted membos, courtesy of More Here. Thanks for bringing new friends in, More Here. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Heavy Johnny says, my guess is that Cano is bought or extorted by Trent, and this guy was his handler. Yikes, yeah. I don't know, but they seemed awfully in favor of him, like they came out of the woodwork for that dude. Spuds, Rob, is it common for the New York State AG to contract out to a private law firm when a state officer is charged when there would be a conflict of interest? In this case, the taxpayers are most likely paying for Abby Lowell to defend her. I think it probably is normal for them to hire private law firms. And I don't know, like if she's using state money to defend herself personally, that would be a problem. But I don't know what Abby's being brought on for, or what Abby's being paid from. So, but her whole basically existence is a conflict of interest, and New York doesn't care. Tony, hey, but I'm glad she's being investigated by the feds now. Tony, hey, what's up? Thanks for bringing in 10 new membos, Tony. Hey, amazing. Mr. New York is here. Joyous Joy. What's up, Andrew Bird? Sam is here. Jerry Adkins, Catherine Imhoff, Poppy's joining us, Cindy Greiman, and Christina Rose. Gifted membos, courtesy of Tony Hay Muckets. Thank you, Tony Hay, for bringing in our new friends. Dictatorship, 21 months as a membo, says, good times indeed. Sandy says, Ortega cut a deal to flip on the judge in return for no deportation to El Salvador. What's up, Doan says, so slip me a pic of your dog and I'll walk you. From Doan. Number one deplorable says, I'm pretty sure that dude was just doing the judge's wife, maybe. One old guy, inferior district judges in SCOTUS are starting to look like fools with all these dumb rulings lately because these other judges and simple evidence and records. They are looking like fools, and the Supreme Court could correct this, but they're not. And the whole system feels like it's being shredded by corrupt judges. Pinochet, Rob, in 2022, my governor from Massachusetts called Maura Healey and AG Coakley petitioned to the public to host illegals. Upon information and belief, a database of volunteers exists. What exposure do those who hosted have? Good question. I don't know if there's a statute of limitation for aiding and abetting. I don't know if they would charge them for that or something like that, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know. Jay Liebgott, what's up? Going to have to review the judge's prior rulings. Jay Liebgott, 20 months as a membo. Thank you, Jay Liebgott. S. Quinn, hey, happy Friday, all. I thoroughly enjoyed the reading of the Judge Dugan charges. She thought she was above the law. but she is not. Acid Burn, what's up? LOL, May 15th is my birthday. Oh, it's going to be a great birthday, Acid Burn. Turning 63. It's going to be fun. ELZ says a double dose of dumb Democrat demonic judges doing dirty deeds, done dirt cheap, detained, denigrated, disgraced, defrocked, double win deserves double donation. 7 + 7 US dollars with love and alliteration. Amazing, ELZ. It's a lot of D words. You're like V for Vendetta. Probably just as cool too. Hey, rub some dirt on it. Says, use the spelling cheat I use for Rob's last name. It's called Go. And then all the other vowels until you run out with a V in the mix. It's true. It's got all the vowels. That's why I like it so much. We want all of them. You want to buy a vowel? Yes, all of them. Thank you. Thank you, rub some dirt on it. It's true. Hey, Sandy, just like in Venezuela, these judges want friendships with Tren de Aragua. They become the protection for the elite. They also get bribe money. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting. Hey, Acid Burn is here. That's what that is. Acid Burn. New membos. Able Star Official. What's up, Alan Viola? Frost Candy. We got Combat King. Michael Cleary. What's up, Kim O. Dex? Kathy Worley. Joe Hafner. Toto Payne Diaz, welcome, and Jana Kolb, gifted membos, courtesy of Acid Burn. Thank you, Acid Burn. And welcome, new friends. Hey, Pamela Grime just joined up. See you tomorrow, Pamela. Number one deplorable says, awkward moment going to court on Monday, and she's your judge. Emotional damage. Hey, one old guy says, I am loving the butchering of all these Spanish names because I can't speak English, no bueno. Maureen Josic. What's up, Maureen? Thank you for signing up, supporting us. Great to see you. It's Heim Time is back. Mikkel's back with 10 new friends. What's up? Brown Wood 99. We got Rachel Carr. Hiker for Life is here. Coitus joining. Knitting Kitten. We got Nathan McDowell. Ken Long. Cinnamon is here. Wanda Hesley and M. Craig's 007. Gifted membos courtesy of Mikkel. Heim Time. We got BH Williams says, Rob is Superman. Truth, justice, and the American way. You know, Superman's not bad. I'm more of a Batman guy myself, but, you know, if you had to be Superman, it's like, all right. Acid Burn. Judges paid by communists to charge the USA. Crazy town. B.H. Williams. The attorney who told the clerk, who took the pics and told the clerk and the judge were all part of the conspiracy. Could that case be made? Yeah, I think so. I think you could definitely say that. And maybe charge them. Now, the judge is being charged, I think, because she was the one who got them out specifically. Like the others are kind of informational crimes. Like she took like the action and opened the door and let them out. So she's the biggest culprit, I think, in the whole thing. What's up, B.H. Williams? Thank you for that. The Tree Godfather is here. Malia Carr, thank you for coming in. Vince Panel, Relics is here. Number 6, Eric Diaz, gifted members courtesy of the Tree Godfather. Thanks for bringing him in, that beautiful tree. What's going on, Acid Burn? Hey, thank God for Trump and Robert and you, Acid Burn, and everybody here. We are grateful to be here. Rice Baby, check it. Bruce Rice Baby, bringing in 50 new membos. Thank you, Bruce. Look who's here, courtesy of Bruce Rice. Jeff Holler, we got Warhite, Mock Fry. Young Money, what's up, Fire Medic? Angel Brat, Julie Flick, Brat Cat, Night Angel, and Team Nightmare. We got Brent Hartsfield, Maladjusted Quest, Christopher Fennel, Stemmer Hetz, Selvin D, Average Savage, What's Up, Teresa Staley, Sarah Robinson, Justin C is here. Yeah, I did. Jim Williams, TK1776, Renee Duncan, Lisa Jackson. We got Tracy King, Lil Ol' Bitty Bit is here. Septonite. We got STE Orel. What's up, Donnie? Bruce Angst, Johnny Douglas, Mr. Blackout, Dr. Mag Adnate. We got Adam Bacon, Stephen Hickman, Original Ghoul, Winston Smith, Jeremiah Douglas, Kilroy was here, Moonshot, Lone Wolf, Brian Moore, Eloy C, Fire Pixie, Sleeping Psychopathy, Alt Lag. What's up, Kev Tech? Scottish Tart, Mountain Dan, Kelly Gerling, Jake Blues, Darren DeJoy, and Hexenhammer. Gifted membos, courtesy of Bruce Rice Baby. Thank you, Bruce Rice Baby, for 50 membos. K-Jax, thank you, K-Jax. What's up, Rena, Lori, Craig? What's up, S13? Gary Bain, Patrick Ponchark, Marla, SKJ, Jen, and Lemonade gifted membos courtesy of KJax. Thank you, KJax. Welcome, new friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Mikkel. Hey, doing my part to get you to the 500K. Thank you, Mikkel. I appreciate it. Says, hey, guys, it's not expensive to gift membos. Well, the 500K is to just sub. Don't even have to gift anything. Just if you don't have a YouTube account or a YouTube account, just create one, hit the sub. You can gift one, get him across the line. He's so close, man. We'd also like to have 500,000 subscribers too. That'd be pretty good too. But Mikkel, thank you for that. Thank you for just subbing, man, and thank you, Mikkel, for flagging it. We appreciate. Thanks everybody for helping us get there. This old guy says, I was trying to figure out whether it was movie night. Then you read the Dugan story, and I decided I had the best movie already in my head. Guess I'll read a book tonight. I know, it's crazy. So you can picture it, like running around. Dun, dun, dun. It's like Mission Impossible movies soundtrack. One old guy. Arrested Judge Cano is not Mortal Kombat Cano, who I never liked to fight with him anyways. Pronounced like Khan, like James Khan. Say Cano, short A, long O to make it sound like Cano. All right. Doanne says, okay, I referred to the judge who caved for a doggy pick. Okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah, no, the judge is like, well, you know, and I remember him saying that. He's like, well, and it sounds like he's got a loving dog who takes him out for a walk. I'm like, of everything I sent you, that's what's stuck. We'll take it. He loves his dog. Great dog. It's like, all right, so I'll give him this sentence. I'm like, amazing. You never know. Spudman, what streams do I need to be watching to get a chance at a gifted membo? So, Spudman, if you're watching, watch the YouTube's lives at this time for this show. So looks like you're watching on Rumble right now. So thanks for that. So watch over on YouTube. People are very generous and YouTube has the functionality. So check on that and then get a gifted membo. Well, it'd be great to see you. One old guy, arrested Judge Dugan will sing like a bird in the plea deal. Yeah, her co-conspirators will fall with her. Well, I don't think she's got co-conspirators. Like, she was the primary operator on that. The defense attorneys are probably freaked now, though. But the other judge, he might sing, right? The other judge might have a lot to say on that. Michelle Young, thank you, Michelle, for bringing in Ladybug. Great to see you. And Deluxe Knight, what's up, Deluxe? Thanks for this. Sorry you're not feeling good, man. It says, thank you, Rob, and everyone here helping us with the prayers. Hopefully, I might have an update tomorrow before your stream ends. Excited to hear more about these wins that are all Trump's fault. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be a great Membo stream tomorrow on Saturday. And we're going to have some new membos to meet. And thank you, everybody, for sending those in. And welcome to our new friends. Let's say hello to some friends on X, then locals. Stick around. We'll come back. We'll hang out and debrief on our after party. We had a couple comments on the X. Let's see what we got. What's up? Shaded, Perspicacious. Hey, thank you, Perspicacious. Says, hey, thanks. I've watched you on YouTube, but sometimes come over here. Perspicacious Pain. Thanks for saying that. Great to see you. Appreciate you watching. Z Shaded says, power in a free society is never a blank check. Step beyond your role. Shield dissolves. In a republic of law, no one stands above the law. Craig says, all right, I'm a bit behind here, but I'm dying. At Rob having to stop after reading the judge was read Miranda and talk to the investigators. I know. Judge is like, yeah, no. Yeah. What else would you like to know about my criminality? Said everything. Hey, what's up? Frank saying, can we go over this EO on the show? Yeah, maybe. Protecting the American people against the invasion. Have we talked about that one yet? I'm not sure. Fred says, okay, from left to right. Oh, Fred's pup is here. Look at that pup. Johnny boy in the house. Fred is identifying the rounds. 22 long range, 9mm, 45 APC, 223 or 5.56. This is Rob, and this is Johnny. Everybody's being identified. All different versions of ammo right there. James Pepper, what's up? Rob, can all these cases be reviewed? Saying this is hilarious. Yeah, it is hilarious. Good to see you, James. And Danny, great to see you. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the judges. We'll see if they get prosecuted. I mean, or convicted, ultimately. They're currently being prosecuted. But we'll see what comes next. Hey, Boopsy. Thank you, Boopsy, for sending this one in. I've had a grin on my face all day. With these two judges getting busted, Good news like this feels so good. It's like endorphins and dopamine running through my brain. Thanks for a great day. Thank you, Boopsy. It is true. Justice feels good when the people who are entrusted to not break the law and to set examples and to be stewards of justice, when they are caught breaking the law and they're held accountable for it, it does feel good, because that means they're getting out of the system and they're not undermining our justice while they're there. So good news today. My friends, thank you so much for sending all of those donos in, for supporting our work, for being here, just for hanging, for watching the show, for chatting, for bringing good energy, for being friendly and fun and educational. We are going to pause right there. Locals, friends, stick around. We're going to debrief and hang out for a bit. Otherwise, my friends, we're pausing here for the weekend. It's been a heck of a week. Thank you for joining us. We'll unplug for the weekend. We'll pause. We'll go outside. We'll get some fresh air, some sunshine, spend time with our friends, our family, the people that we love, rejuvenate and restore our energy tanks, because we're coming back on Monday. Before we wrap up, we want to thank our amazing meme smiths, mods, and doc masters. K-Bean, Donut Mind Me, Carrie B, Playing Hooky, Dog Digger, and Janek modding the fort down for us, keeping things nice and orderly. We also want to say what's up to Jeegum Geegum, Just Rhonda, and Elliot, our doc master and poet master, and Tony Hay for bringing in Joe Clark with one final gifted membo. Welcome aboard, Joe Clark. We'll see you back here tomorrow. But my friends, that is going to be it for us on the day. We are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Members only after party debrief for a bit over there. Members back tomorrow on Saturday to get into it again. Otherwise, my friends, I hope you're out there getting after it, making it a beautiful weekend, and that you do come back on Monday to get into it again, because we will be back here. And in order to do it appropriately, we are going to need to see you right back here, so that together with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system, with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful weekend, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here on Monday. Bye-bye.